Hear ye, prepare thyself for a proclamation from the Dukes of Gaming.
Do you love video games? Do you love staying up to date with the latest going-ons of the gaming industry? Do you love shooting the breeze with your friends about all things interactive entertainment? Well then, fine people, do we have a podcast just for you? Join us at the Dukes of Gaming podcast. Gather around as me and my fellow Dukes bring you the most interesting news, interesting topics, and spicy hot takes from the video game realm every single Monday. If that sounds like a blast to you, subscribe to Dukes of Gaming, no questions asked. Available wherever you get your podcast.
Hear ye, the ad read is over.
For real, C-Rock?
You're a wizard, Harry.
Initially in opposition to the idea of splitting the final book into two movies, director David Yates eventually decided it was the best way to tell the story.
You're a wizard, Harry.
After the studio unloaded a dump truck full of money on its front lawn, of course. Part 1 and Part 2 were filmed back-to-back and released 8 months apart from each other. The Deathly Hallows Part 1 was released in November of 2010 to mostly positive critical reviews and fan appreciation. It broke several records, and after making $977 million worldwide, it became the third highest grossing film of 2010 and is the third highest grossing Harry Potter film behind only The Sorcerer's Stone and The Deathly Hallows Part 2. It is also the only Harry Potter film to not feature Hogwarts School at all, with mostly on-location shooting taking place instead in a cinema verite shooting style, making it look completely different than any of the other films. Some say that this penultimate movie feels like nothing more than a prelude to the final piece of the puzzle. But what did we think of this movie? Joining us for this episode is friend of the pod, writer, producer, editor, director, and business owner, Chris Heiman. So come along with Colin Harris and I as we dance awkwardly with each other while watching the 7th and penultimate Harry Potter film. We watched the 2010 magical family classic, David Yates' Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. This is a show about franchises. Wizarding movie franchises. You're listening to License to Watch.
Why in the world was this movie made?
All right, welcome to the show. We're here. This is the penultimate. Is that the right word?
Yes,
penultimate.
it is. Good job.
Harry
Good
Potter
job,
film. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. We're watching the little cold open right now.
We open with the random giant shot of Bill Nighy's face. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
Not the science guy, the other one.
This movie, it does a lot of things differently, and I actually, I kind of dig it. I'm not going to lie. I'm digging the vibe of this.
Yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but I like this one. This is good. This is good. I thought it, for the same director as the last one, where we pointed out that it was the desaturation and the there's just a weird cinematography in the last one. This one I thought looked really good and really kind of naturalistic. And we toured the world, and I don't know. There's just a lot of cool things. I love Snape walking through this gate too at the beginning.
I feel like Harry Potter, 3 through 6, feel like they're in that nether realm of the early 2000s, or maybe just from 2000 to 2010, where movies just looked really digital and crappy. I have no other way to describe it. There's a certain feel, you can look at it and be like, oh, that movie's from 2007. The CGI is not great. They didn't really crack the code. And then all of a sudden, this movie looks different. It feels like they're there's like been a breakthrough in technology or something, and like they're using Alexa cameras probably now at this point.
Yeah, there's like something artificial and overproduced about some of those. When the digital technology was just sort of fresh, like good enough that people thought they could get away with it, but now when we look back, it's very distinctive. There's a game, like an online, like a Wordle style online game that's called like Frame something. Yeah, something like that. But basically they just show you a single frame from a movie and you guess what the movie is. And then they show you another frame and you get basically 6 different chances. And by the end, they're like showing you main actors and stuff like that. But the first ones are usually like a close up or like a wide establishing shot of like a place or something. And it's so funny. I can immediately identify like, oh, this definitely came out in the 90s or this definitely came out in the 2000s or like just by the look of the film you totally know.
That's also lucky you have that fetish for the back of people's knees, so if any time the back of an actor's knee is
back
on,
of the back of the head is a lot of times what you really need to like, oh, I'd recognize that haircut anywhere.
Joining us for today's episode is a good friend who I haven't seen in person in a long time. We've seen each other over Zoom many times in the past few years, but here he is live and in the flesh, Mr. Chris Heiman.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Don't laugh at his name. It's spelled different.
Yeah, it's much different. I'm a big fan of this. I feel like this film has got much better rewatch value upon the second and third time. When I first saw this in the theater, it was kind of like, it was just tough because I was one of the guys who was comparing it to the book, and like you're first comparing it to your imagination when you go into these type of things, when you read the book first. So you're like, I was like, is this how I thought it'd be? But then when you watch this again, I feel like it does a lot of things right. And to your point, just even the color palette and the world they build, I feel really goes hand in hand with like where we're at in the Potter series, and it just makes perfect sense.
I think this is like the first movie of its kind where it, like they decided to break the story up into 2 movies. Now we're so used to this, but like I think I know what you're talking about, where like a lot of people were down on this movie when it first came out because they were so excited for, like, the last book is like one of the most exciting ones, and I think people didn't know where they were going to break it in half. Right. And this movie, for as like cool as it does feel like it meanders a little bit in the middle, and it's like kind of a slow, like this movie takes its time, which now in hindsight I actually really appreciate, and I think it works for the movie. But I can imagine in theaters being like, damn it, it's ending now, and like we're not seeing like any of the cool shit from the book, you know?
Yeah, and they were in the woods like a long time.
Yeah, this is like the Chloe Zhao Harry Potter film.
I like that though. Yeah, like part of watching this for me is trying to figure out, I'm not sure if I just like it because I like it, or if I also like that it is a departure. There's no Hogwarts at all. It's just the characters, and they're out in the woods for a long time. And I don't know.
There's no other kids, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really just the main trio. And, but it is out in the woods, but it's actually 2 different wood set pieces in 2 different woods, and
there's a few locations that are just really great outdoor locations.
Like when they're traveling by foot, it's gorgeous. It's some of the best shots in this movie, and it seems so not Harry Potter-y,
right?
Because it's real world stuff. Like these beautiful landscapes, and not that they always make Hogwarts look nice, but in this movie we get way more just random natural world than, and like you said, no Hogwarts.
But it doesn't look totally natural because it has that like aggressive color grade, but it also like works because it looks really cool on some of the outdoor. Like I would say some of these outdoor location settings look better with this color grade than like the very meticulously planned studio shots do almost.
Agreed.
By the way, this scene is dark. It opens up like it's not messing around.
This is an adult movie.
Yeah, it is. And again, rewatching it again, I mean, like, this is effed up, man. She's got this teacher just hanging.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I was a little confused because I thought Nagini was a pasta.
Yes.
But begging Snape, she's like, we're friends, and he's sitting there, who I still don't believe he's a bad guy. I've been saying this all along. There's no way. But at the same time, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy or not, like he's sitting there watching one of his friends and coworkers get murdered, and isn't doing anything about it. Just him. I love Snape. Like, this is my biggest complaint with this movie, and there's things this movie does wrong. It's not a perfect film. But my biggest complaint is not enough Snape. I like the Snape character. He's just getting good. And this is the only scene we see of him is him literally walking through an iron gate and into this, room and being a badass. And that's it.
Well, quick Snape question. Because I was thinking about this when I watched this movie again. Do we think like that Snape is playing both sides? I mean, is he able to look at her and not flinch because he's still kind of fucked up? He's still kind of a bad dude? Or he's just that good of playing the other side. Like, what do you think? I mean, is he totally on the good side? Or is he kind of like, hey, like,
if he hesitates or like shows any kind of weakness, they're gonna kill him.
Right.
Like he has to be like.
It kind of goes back to the thing where he's training Harry Potter not to let Voldemort in his head. Like, he's a very in control dude. So
right.
This is part of why, like, I haven't watched the last movie, so I don't know what happens with Snape. And so, like, but I just don't buy that this guy's actually, like, they've tried to flip him from a suspicious good guy to a bad guy. And I'm not buying it because I think that would just be a terrible way for that character to end up. But at the same time, he's clearly, like, he's very good at whatever he's doing,
Yeah.
I imagine it like, have you ever been in church and like you have to fart really bad and you're just clenching your butt cheeks so hard and you know that if you move or like make any like sharp movements of any kind, like it will release and everyone will look at you. That's like, that's kind of what Snape has going on, I feel like.
Just constant clenched butt cheeks for so long that he doesn't even remember what it's like not to have his butt cheeks clenched.
Exactly.
And that explains the expression on his face, too. I think Rickman he might have actually said in an interview that's how he played the character with clenched butt cheeks.
Did they not have bathrooms in your church?
Well, you've never been like a little kid and you're like, sandwiched by like 5 people on your left, 5
Are you
people
going to
on
excuse
your right.
yourself just to go to the bathroom to fart? No, you find a way to ease it out through your butt cheeks so that it doesn't make a noise, and then you immediately look at one of your siblings and go, "Oh man, what? What? Come on!
How dare you? This is a holy building.
Oh, it's the holy place. Now we all have to sit in your pew.
This pew is pew." Yeah, here we go. Lots of actors. They bring a lot of people back here. We're watching the scene.
This is the whole order, isn't it? The Order of the Phoenix?
Yeah, exactly.
Plus Mundungus.
The Order of the Phoenix plus Mundungus, which is the most offensive sounding name. I'm like, what?
They're like, one of you in this room is the traitor. It could possibly be you, new character who we've never seen before.
It sounds absolutely like the name someone would come up with who hates themselves for their penis. Like, I hate myself. I call my Johnson my Mundungus. That makes absolute sense.
There's a lot of so Mundungus hasn't been introduced before, right?
Right.
Okay. I just clarifying that because there's a lot of shit that's happening in this movie that I wasn't sure where it came from and if I was supposed to know what it was.
Well, you see in the books, Mundungus is like, he's like actually the main character throughout the first 7 books.
It was originally called Mundungus in the Chamber of Secrets.
They had to change it because, kids, they had to make it.
In the first book, there's a scene where he's like, Harry's riding the broom and Mundungus is hanging on, and they originally wanted to call the book Harry Potter and the Low-Hanging Mundungus. But that just, it didn't roll off the tongue.
It's actually called that in England.
Yeah, exactly.
Low-hanging Mundungus.
And also, we just saw Harry looking into that mirror at somebody who looks kind of like Dumbledore. And I didn't know, like, when was that introduced? Did I miss something? Was that in this? That wasn't in this movie. That must have been in a previous film.
I don't. It's important because it comes into play after this movie.
Well, I would assume so because they show him doing it a lot in this movie and they don't ever fucking explain it. But I thought,
but I also don't remember when he picks up the shard of mirror.
Does anybody
and
know
I think they should have had a line
from.
Yeah, I'm struggling. No, I don't know. I mean,
because
wasn't
the
last movie.
Yeah, I think he picks it up in the previous movie, but I don't remember that part at all.
Yeah, I don't remember a significant mirror in that movie.
I think what happened was when Dumbledore died in the last one, they were in his office or like the tower above his office or whatever. And what the mirror is like it's like a portal, but not like it's just a portal to look through to another place. And it was one that Dumbledore had in his office so he could like talk to someone else through it.
quick question: how do you guys feel about the way that these films like flip flop on the rules of this spell potion?
The Polyjuice potion.
Yeah,
Is it because did their voices used to change?
correct.
No, they don't?
In the second one,
Yeah.
they are their own voices. Like, so you hear Harry, even though he's trying to be someone else. And in the fourth one, you got Mad Eye, who is Brendan Gleeson's voice.
Right.
It's not the guy he's trying to be. And then they flip back to this one where you hear like Hermione's voice and Harry's body. I just feel like there's zero regard for that.
I feel
that
like if
rule.
Mike Schatz were here, he'd probably say it's like the amount that you take like makes some difference or some shit.
Have
All the answers.
rules. Yeah, all the answers. Yeah, no, I did notice. I was like, man, I thought that changed your voice too, but then I couldn't really remember. But I do think it might have just been for this one scene, so they can have like 8 different Harrys in the room, all with different voices, and they were like, you know what, fuck it, we're just changing it back.
It was for laughs and
convenience.
jokes, so you could hear Hermione's voice come out of Harry's
Exactly.
body. It was completely.
Well, it also comes back into play later. They take more Polyjuice
Yep.
potion
Yep.
when they infiltrate the Ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I like the actors that play them infiltrating the Ministry.
Yeah, I
Same.
do too. I couldn't remember. I
One-
was trying to. I should have IMDb'd them because the guy that Harry plays.
Yep.
I've
he's
seen
so
him in
familiar.
stuff.
I've
I got
seen
my
him in a
notes
lot of
here.
things.
He's like from Braveheart or something like that.
yeah, something
He's
like
from
that.
a bunch. He's from The Departed.
Oh, The Departed.
Yeah,
that's
and
what
it
it is.
kills me.
100% where I know him from. Yeah, he's the
He's
guy
got
who
like a
can't
crazy
spell the
Scottish
thing.
accent.
Yeah, he can't spell the thing on the envelope. Yeah.
I got his name here. David O'Hara.
Good. That's a
is
good
the
Irish
man.
name.
Yep. Oh yeah. That's pretty funny seeing him in there because again you just see him in like these movies and it's like badass like mafia
I feel
dude.
like there's one other familiar face that pops up, and I was like, oh, that's the dude from whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of random, like one of the Death Eaters is definitely somebody that I've seen in random things. A lot of the people at the Ministry of Magic, I'm like, I know that guy from something.
Mhm.
There's just a lot of people in this movie that are from something else. This is kind of funny when they've got to move Harry. I kind of didn't get this whole thing. I guess they've got the trace on him, so they got to find a way to move him so that he's
You know
somewhere
what I hate
protected.
about this scene? We've got fucking
Just jump in there, Colin.
Hagrid's changing size again. Does it not bother you? Doesn't it bother you? Isn't that something that bothers you?
No.
Okay, sorry.
More than being interrupted, I don't know.
How do you feel about this scene?
But I don't understand, like, why don't they just, they know where he lives. Why aren't the Death Eaters just attacking him there? Why do they have to move him to a safe house?
I learned from this movie that they can cast spells like that protect certain areas.
Then why not just keep him there until he's 17? Why do this risky move? It just didn't make sense to me totally.
His parents left though. Like I don't think he was on the lease.
Oh, speaking of parents leaving, Hermione's got to leave her parents and then erase her existence, leaving them with a bunch of really weird pictures in their house. Some of which are just empty frames with like the school backdrop on
my
them
God.
of like
I noticed that
the Heather
too.
Cloud backdrop.
And like poorly framed, like where someone's on the far left side of the frame and like
with
just
their arm
dead
around
space.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy, her father in the divorce is really gonna like. Who was this little girl you were with? That's fucked up.
Very strange.
I mean, did she have to do that, or like she's doing it to protect them, obviously, but like
Right.
Clearly.
But also, the safe house is a place that like the Death Eaters have been to before and like killed people at before, isn't it? Didn't they burn down the Weasley house
Yeah, they
and
did
like
burn
kill
down the
someone
Weasley
there?
house. This is a new Weasley house that looks similar to the old Weasley
Oh,
house.
it's not in the same spot.
Yeah.
I was under the impression
They've moved
that they
into
just,
an identical
okay.
house, an identical weird lighthouse-looking country cottage somewhere else. Apparently, they can only live in tall tower-like cottage houses.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, and it's like it's got to be kind of teetering in the wind, you know.
yeah, it's like it looks like it's designed by Tim Burton,
Right.
early '90s Tim Burton.
Yeah.
I
Well,
also-
how do we all feel about the Hedwig death though? Like again,
Oh.
as a fan of the books, that shit hit me deep.
Oh, the owl.
The owl.
Oh,
Yeah, it seems.
Man,
it-
and
it's
I don't know if they executed it as well
too
in the
much
movie.
of an afterthought.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know. I felt like it could have taken a liberty. It might have been too forced, but to at least introduce the bird before
Well,
it
I
like
feel
sacrifices itself, like it just kind of happens. You're like, oh,
yeah,
Shit.
right, we didn't even know the owl was there. Kind
right.
of, yeah.
We skipped right over.
also, the bird sacrifices itself. The Death Eater that's chasing them shoots the bird, and then is just like, peace, I'm out. Right. That's all. I was just here to kill owls. You guys are cool.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Was that supposed to be Snape, like realizing it was the real Harry and like backing off or something?
I think it was, in retrospect, I think it was maybe that he was just supposed to tell Voldemort like, this is the real Harry, and then so that guy was like reporting
because
back.
Voldemort has to kill the real Harry.
Exactly.
Right.
But then like Harry's like half unconscious. Hagrid's totally unconscious. Harry's like half knocked out, steering the motorcycle thing, and then also fights Voldemort. And also, Voldemort's changed wands, which was supposed to be the reason that he couldn't kill Harry. But now he's got a new wand, and he still can't kill a half-conscious Harry, which I know he's like chosen one or whatever.
Well,
but,
they're hinting at a lot of cool things here that it's all I don't really remember, but it's kind of coming back to me. So like, yeah, Harry's like half unconscious at that point, and he like cracks his new wand, right? Voldemort, like, doesn't his wand start to break apart?
Mm-hmm.
So like, that's telling me that Harry is like more powerful than Voldemort even knows. And then B, there's more to this, right? It's like less about the wand and more about the person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's he decides that he's got to. Well, it's definitely he doesn't want to use a cheap ass Malfoy wand, is what he's learning here. He's got to get the best wand ever.
Oh, speaking of Malfoys, they're setting that up too. That like in that scene that we saw earlier, where all the bad guys are sitting around a table, you're kind of seeing that a lot of the bad guys, including the Malfoys, like aren't really 100% down with Voldemort, right? Like it seems like they're there against their will. Yeah,
Draco, we're really getting to see Draco's journey in this one. I think even like more than in a lot of the other ones, like we're finally getting that he's a conflicted character, you know.
Yep. There's an argument to be said that Draco's actually the true hero of this entire franchise, because he's got the most he's got the most journey. Harry's good, always good. It's never hard for him to be not good, you know. But Malfoy's the one like it's got the family says we're evil, we're terrible, and you watch him kind of that conflict continuously happening throughout the entire saga. People argue that it's really Draco's story.
Yeah, because I'm guessing. I mean, I kind of forget, but I'm guessing he has some sort of redemptive moment in the next movie.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
But he has more of a redemptive moment in the final book than he does than he gets in the movie.
Yes.
I think is something another one of those book versus movie things. Which I haven't read the books. I just tried to figure out what the differences were.
We also have the Weasley twins, the Shatz's favorite Weasley twins, who I'm still not impressed by, even though this one,
they're worse in this movie.
Yeah, they are worse. And I thought
we
this
always
guy,
say that the twins are like really lame.
I thought they were going to kill him off here, where they drag him in and he's unconscious and he's bloody and they're like all crying about it, and it turns out he's just wounded.
They killed like
another
Colin
character.
Level joke. I was like, oh
yeah,
God.
exactly.
My jokes are way
Mad Eye doesn't make it.
Yeah, Mad Eye dies.
Yeah,
that hurts.
That
On
does.
screen. Did they?
Yeah,
no,
it happens in the book like that too.
because he's with Mendingus.
Yeah,
Mendingus.
Dingus is not his name.
I think it's a shame we don't get enough
Mundungus.
Mad Eye,
Mundungus.
because the only Mad Eye we really get a lot of is actually not Mad Eye,
Right.
Which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
kind
Although
of a
now
shame
that-
because he's a great character.
When we get the actual Mad Eye, we realize that David Tennant was doing a great impression of the fake Mad Eye.
Right.
Like he was actually nailing it.
We prefer that Mad Eye.
Does
Kinda
that
the same
David
guy.
Tennant character ever come back? Who does he play again?
Did he get killed or did he?
Which one?
He plays like Barty Crouch Jr.
Yeah, Barty Crouch Jr.
Yeah, I don't think he makes another appearance. I think he's done.
Doing some Doctor Who shit. He was like, I don't got time for that. I'm the doctor now.
I kind of like that
Yatch.
this movie has some reappearances, and it was like reassuring for me. I was like, oh, I forgot that the movies did this, but like that's cool to bring back.
Yeah, all
everyone.
the Order of the Phoenix people is a big one, and then the lady who used to run Hogwarts, Imelda Staunton.
Yeah,
And
you know,
Ollivander, the wand guy.
Yeah. That's from like the fucking first movie. Dobby's back. Unfortunately,
unfortunately, he makes a
He's the
comeback
most
in this
important part
film.
of this
though.
whole movie.
I know.
In my opinion, they nailed Dobby.
I like what's the other guy's name? Creature.
Creature. I hate Creature.
Oh my God, Creature's
He's horrible.
Creature's so much better than Dobby.
Creature's morally reprehensible.
Oh yeah, no, Creature's terrible. Like terrible. Like I was gonna say terrible human, but he's
No,
not
he's
a
not.
human. He's a terrible.
He's
like
a pretty okay, whatever he is.
yeah, but well, Dobby's just like this annoying, ingratiating like lapdog. And Creature is like got a little bit of sass to him. He's like, he does what he's told, but he hates everybody while he's doing it.
Yeah.
But one of them is like actually emancipated, and one of them is not.
Yeah, that's
it sort
why
of seems like you're
that's
saying
why
the
he's so
reverse.
racist.
Okay.
He's disgruntled.
I love how Harry thinks he could handle anything in this film by himself. And,
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Are you fucking stupid?"
Yeah.
Like, have you not been paying attention to your entire life?
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah.
name me 3 things that you did on your own that weren't complete disasters.
Exactly.
And it's like, I don't know. This one really hammers home the fact that these movies are about the 3 of them being together all the time.
Right.
Yeah, and once again, I feel like we got this like sort of art of, they do kind of explain it and redeem it, but we have this moment where Ron, whose big thing in all these is just he's super loyal and whatever, who again for the second time in the series ditches his friends and takes off because he's being a pouty bitch. And like it seemed out of character the first time, it seems out of character this time. He gets a pass because he's wearing the Horcrux and it's making him cranky. And then later they kind of explain that he would have come right back, but they had already left without him.
I would say he wins Best Actor of the 3 in this film also.
Oh yeah, well
again.
that's pretty consistent.
I also like the thing that they do in this where he's sort of seeing visions of Harry and Hermione getting together, and it's like the warped.
I know why you like that, you dirty bastard.
Dude,
This
they're
is
like
the
naked
first
in
movie
that
to
one
have
part.
hardcore nudity. In
Yeah.
Big fan. I'm looking forward to that
Real
scene.
dirty, some real dirty
Yeah.
shit. Were they like
He
were,
really pulled out the sword of Gryffindor.
they were like they were like did you think like did they do like a it looks like deep fake technology, like there's some Uncanny Valley shit with what they were doing with them there in that scene that I thought like, oh, this is weird, I wonder if they actually
Boobs
They're
just look
slick,
pixelated
shiny.
in the wizarding world.
They have that slick, shiny ghost skin.
yeah, and I was kind of wondering, did they actually film them or and put a filter on it, or did
Wait.
they
We're missing what I'm sure is.
Oh yeah, definitely stop whatever I'm saying to just talk about something that you're seeing on screen. Don't even specify what it is. Just be like, oh wait, I love this part.
I know. I just didn't mean to interrupt you, but I got really excited about talking about this particular
About
scene.
Ginny Weasley's back.
Yeah,
Saw a little Weasley back, and you got to stop everything.
Because this whole time on every other episode, we've been
Podcasts
talking
with dirty
about
perverts.
how bad their chemistry is, and
it just continues. They're
this
actually
scene is so forced.
yeah, it is so bad when he zips up her dress, and then they make out, and they have to act like they like it.
I just feel like I can see the frustrated director being like, "How are we gonna like make them like be hot together?" And he's like, "He'll have to zip up her dress, and we'll see her back, I guess, and he'll get into it."
We've done 57 takes, and this is the best we've got.
I love how it takes 8 wizards to pull that tent up.
Yeah, what is that?
Just or everybody grab a corner.
And like, and so their tents don't need poles; they just stay up once they've magicked them.
Oh yeah. I mean, come
Okay.
on, magic.
There's a lot of inconsistencies in this world.
A wizard with the right spell can pitch a tent anytime, any place.
Did you just criticize me?
Keep it up as long as he wants.
for saying the perverted things?
Yeah, the Harry Ginny. I mean, it feels as awkward on the movie as I feel like. Again, I'm not like a huge shipper of either Ron and Hermione nor Harry and Ginny. Maybe there are people out there who are just like, it's perfect. But in the book, I thought it was dumb. And in the movies, I also don't think either works. I think Ron and Hermione work better. But yeah, Harry and Ginny just comes off silly.
I think a lot of the relationships, like the people who end up with each other, seem silly. The choices are odd.
Mhm.
I think the only relationship that truly works in this whole thing are like the Weasley parents.
Yeah, they're perfect for each other.
Yeah.
I just feel like this, like, it's really about them as like a throuple, and they can't say that, so they have to like just, everything else has to be kind of changed for that.
And based on the Harry and Ginny thing, I think Harry Potter might be like mildly asexual, so that could work for this throuple. I feel like this throuple could work.
I asked a friend about what they thought about this movie, and I was talking about the lack of chemistry between Radcliffe and Jenny, actress, I forgot her name, and she was like, I think Daniel Radcliffe is asexual, and I was like, is he? I don't know. Like, and she's like, I don't think he's ever had a girlfriend. But then she looked it up and she's like, he's been with the same woman for 10 years or something like that. But then we were both like, but is it real?
Well, I mean, probably not having sex with her, but it's maybe they were at one time.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
I think that the Ron Hermione thing kind of works for me only because they've been building to it from like day one with like little flirting and stuff. And it's kind of like, yeah, maybe they're not the most obvious fit, but at the same time, they do kind of have that, like, that high school sweetheart kind of thing where, they just sort of fell into that and it worked good enough.
Do you see,
though they're not a perfect match?
Do you see them as middle-aged and like Ron is still living that Quidditch glory and like
I see. Yeah, I definitely see Ron.
He wears his Letterman jacket, but it's like 4 sizes too small.
Exactly. I definitely see
He's
Ron
like at the grill in the backyard. He's
just
like,
kind
damn
of
it, woman,
bulking up everywhere. Like he doesn't get like the big fat gut, but he gets like the gut and all the he's just big all over.
We never got our Married with Children spinoff of Ron and Hermione as like middle-aged people, where Ron is basically Al Bundy
and she becomes like a workout fanatic. She's one of those, like, she's almost skeletal. She's so obsessed with staying trim.
Married with 18 redheaded Weasley children.
Yeah. She ends up having an affair with her aerobics instructor, who is a very nice witch.
Magical
named,
aerobics.
Named Madeline. And they run off together.
Madeline, smart choice for a name, I think.
Seems like a witch name. They'd have a weird last name for it, though.
Yeah, Madeline Scoobleblotz or something.
Yeah, Madeline Scoobleblotz is perfect. That's definitely who Hermione leaves Ron for. Madeline Scoobleblotz. And like Ron's devastated, but he's got all these freaking noisy ass kids. He can't even have time to recover.
Well, maybe he'll finally get past that. He'll realize that he was a great Quidditch player, but it's time to move on.
He's like calling up that Patel twin he took to the dance in the middle of the night and just like hanging up the phone.
Where did they go?
She's got a restraining order.
Yeah. Where did the Patel twins go?
I love that.
I've been missing them for several
movies.
God.
I didn't realize that this I watched this movie and did not realize that this was Rhys Evans, who plays Luna's Lovelace's father. I knew he was familiar, but I couldn't think of where, because it really does, like, he looks kind of the same in almost every movie he's in. He's got kind of like that weird punk haircut and the 5 o'clock shadow. And all I knew in this was, this guy is a fucking creep. Like, they have the weirdest, like, weird, like LA, is that his daughter or his girlfriend relationship? And you definitely, this whole, he creeps me out every scene he's in.
But what is he from?
I've seen him in at least 5 things and can't name any of them.
Notting Hill is his big breakout role. He was the lizard in the Spider-Man.
Yes.
Spider-Man movie.
That's 3 things I've seen him in right there.
In The Replacements, he was the kicker.
I love him in The Replacements.
He's been in a ton of things. I can't think of anything else offhand, but he's been in a lot, and he always looks kind of the same in all those. And then in this, he looks very different.
He has to tell Shane Falco to run the audible because he can't kick it because he's in bad with the gamblers.
Yeah.
He might have been good for top 4, but not anymore.
How much you want to bet that
everything
only one of those is actually in his top 4?
Yeah.
Speaking of bits, we actually failed to do the 2-minute summary of the last movie, so I feel like I have to do it now, especially more than ever.
Are you prepared? Are you ready?
I'm never ready. I hate these things, but I've only got to do this 2 more times. So
never ready.
I was born never ready.
Never ready.
All right, you ready? And go.
Okay, so we start off and we find out that the Muggle world is in danger. Everyone's parents are leaving, including Harry's weird aunt and uncle, and he has to get the hell out of Dodge. So the Order of the Phoenix, they devise this plot where they turn everyone into Harry to try to like confuse all the bad guys and to which one is the real Harry, and they all fly away on their brooms to a secret hiding place that is somehow safer than anywhere else. So they go. Mad-Eye Moody gets killed in the hustle and bustle, and they get to where they're going, and Harry realizes he has to set off on his own to try to find the Horcruxes, but of course Ron and Hermione come with him. They go to the Ministry, I think, is the first place they go, and they disguise themselves using the whatever potion as like some other guys, and they go in there and they're trying to steal a locket, which they know from the last movie is a Horcrux. They find it. It's with what's her name? The bad guy from Order of the Phoenix. I can't think of her name. She wears pink. And they get it from her, and they run out, and it's a big chase, and it's crazy. But then they figure out they don't know how to destroy the thing. And whoever wears it, kind of pisses you off. It corrupts you. Yeah, makes you cranky. Yeah. Ron gets too cranky, and he leaves Hermione and Harry alone. And they have this weird dance together, and Ron comes back. And they're trying to find the sword now, the sword of Gryffindor. And Ron comes back just in the nick of time to see Harry and Hermione like making out naked in a strange vision. And instead, he destroys the locket with the sword, which they got at the bottom of a lake. And then, oh god, I'm running out of time. And then Voldemort gets the wand, the most powerful wand ever, from the grave of Dumbledore, and that's the final shot of this movie. I love so much.
Nailed the 2 minutes. Well, you mentioned all the important things, including the weird dance scene. So
I mean,
that is the crux.
Did you say
of
Dobby
this
dies?
movie. Oh, and Dobby dies.
Yeah, that was
That's
actually
the most important thing.
Dude. It's the heart of this movie.
Yeah. I it's my favorite part of Daniel Radcliffe's performance in the whole movie is when he's holding.
I do agree with that.
Because like I don't think I could act like I was sad about like holding this little puppet because it's just so weird looking.
I'm glad they used a puppet too and not a CGI thing. That was cool.
The puppet looked good.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
No, he sells that moment. I do agree. The rest of it
he
is
nailed
whatever. It's just, him
Yeah,
running
I
around
don't-
with glasses, but that moment works.
Him and Hermione, the dancing thing, I'm like, what's going on? And like we already said, him and Ginny, it's like, oh
Yeah.
man, I wish there was a spark here.
Should we just take a moment and talk about the dancing scene?
Yes,
Because we keep mentioning it. We're going to have to talk about it at some
I
point.
was
would rather
hoping
talk
to-
about it now rather
okay.
than wait for it, because I don't want to watch it again. So
You-
when it comes up on
you
screen,
have to
I'm going
watch
to
it
look
again.
away.
Don't look away.
So
Yeah.
to set the scene, there's a lot of like in the middle of this movie, a lot of meandering where like the audience and the characters do not know what the next step is. Like they're just basically sitting around in the woods in a tent. Like
They're waiting for Ron to heal. Like, so just to set up the scenario a little more elaborately than Matt, who really nailed it.
but they don't know what the next Horcrux
They
is or where to find
they
it.
escape from their heist of the Ministry of Magic, but Ron is terribly injured and they can't, what do they call it when they zap around?
Apparate.
They can't apparate until Ron's healthy. So they're traveling by foot. They're living together. They got this Horcrux is making people cranky. Ron takes off and ditches them. And then...
And he's suspicious about the two of them, too.
Yeah, exactly. And they're just like chilling in the tent. Are they even walking anymore? They can apparate now. I don't even remember what their goals were. But then they're listening to some wizard's folk music. And Harry just decides that they should dance. But like nobody choreographed the dance, like, or even like told them how to just do a simple like waltz dance or something like that.
And he's clearly leading, and she's a little confused about where he's going with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's almost like she's already said, "Hey, we should just chill out here forever and grow old together."
Right.
But somehow not in a way that she was like, "I want you." It was like, we should grow old together, and don't touch me though.
Yeah.
And then they have this dance, which somehow, despite the fact that their faces are really close together, at no point did I ever think that there was any chance they would kiss, because it is such a not like romantic or sexual dance. Which I don't know if that's just a Ginny Weasley style.
It's a strange
lack
dance.
of chemistry, but
It's a strange dance because like I feel like the impetus for it is that like they're both so down in the dumps, not knowing like what to do and where to go. And so to break the monotony of that, he like wants to dance with her to sort of inject some fun.
it's morale.
Yes.
Morale boosting dance.
But then he starts dancing like an idiot, and like you can't quite. It's neither romantic nor fun. It's just like confusing and weird and I was embarrassed for both of them.
Let me cheer you up with my ridiculous dancing. Why aren't you laughing?
Do you kind of wish the scene like Hermione stops and says that to him? Like I know what you're trying to do here, but this
I want to
is
see
bad.
them laughing or something,
Yeah.
And then it becomes sort of a romantic thing. They kind of go cheek to cheek
Oh my god!
towards the end, but it's like it's just not working.
I can see what they're going for.
Right.
I just don't think it like lands, and I don't know who to fault.
Well, apparently that
I
scene's
fault
not,
All of them.
not in
yeah.
the book, right?
Yeah.
It's not in the book. I mean, he takes the necklace off her. They tried to be intimate, and then the dance is weird. I just think it's a poor choice for Harry, who literally 5 seconds ago said, I'm not trying to make a move on your girl. Then does some weird that could be mistaken as a move on his girl. Like, I just feel like not the best timing to do anything like that.
I feel like the scene is also there only to set up, like, later on, a few scenes later, when Ron sees the vision of them hooking up, and he's so enraged, like, you think, you know, he might
kill Harry.
actually do something there. Yeah, but
But Ron wasn't even there to see that.
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Poor
yeah,
choice.
It's you know, you bring up an interesting point. It is entirely possible that I am misinterpreting this, and that it was a dance of seduction. Maybe that was like he is kind of waving his arms
like,
in a
"Now's my
snake-like
chance."
fashion.
This is the best I got, Hermione.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you wet?
And she, yeah, and she looks at it and she goes, "There's no way he's trying to get me with this. This is very safe because this can't possibly be sexual in any way. No person could ever find this sexual, and he must realize that this is safe. I feel safe like I would with like a brother or you know, a eunuch."
How many times do you encounter a eunuch in this day and age?
I don't know how the wizarding world works.
Okay. Oh, you're right. In the wizarding world.
I do have a strong belief that the studios, the people behind Warner Bros., everybody really wanted a Harry and Hermione relationship, and they just couldn't because of the book, and they just knew they couldn't. So they just, anytime they had a chance to do an arm rub or a hug, they ate that shit up.
Fake sex scene.
Exactly.
I feel
Yeah.
like we need this.
Because I think the
this.
natural inclination for any movie like this, where there's two male leads and a female lead, is like
Right.
a love triangle situation.
Yeah,
Which is there.
Right.
It's a
Eiffel
little bit
Tower
there. It's not-
scenario.
it's-
Yeah.
Eiffel. Okay, that's not there.
Tower
That's not there.
Like
That's what every movie that I've ever seen with two male leads and one
Right.
female lead always ends in an Eiffel Tower scenario.
Well-
None of them are big blockbuster Hollywood movies. Sure, they're these little indie things that people usually shoot in their own apartments.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like that's more like a Mundungus series.
Yeah.
Than,
it's, for me, and I guess they never really pushed the love angle too hard on any of these films, but like you just think of like the infamous one of like, you know, the Han Solo, Leia, and Luke thing.
Yeah.
But when you think of that, and when I watch it again, obviously they pivoted real hard with the brother-sister thing at the end. Like, just to say, no, Luke never stood a chance.
Diffuse that pretty effectively.
Yeah. But when you watch that, you're like, okay, Han and Leia make way more sense. Like, it just fucking makes sense. But when you watch this, it's like, no, it doesn't. She could go either way. And that would probably work just fine.
I mean, honestly,
Like-
she's too good for both of them.
Yeah,
She
exactly.
should really be like aiming higher.
Right.
When I watch these movies, I feel there's a codependency between the three of them. To be honest, they're none of them is ever gonna like be able to get away from the other two.
Right.
I feel like this probably taught a generation of young people that if you want to like outkick your coverage, do it in high school and just cling on for dear life like Ron.
Outkick your coverage.
I feel like that's a Tales all his time, though, too.
It's not a great lesson. But,
Yeah.
you know.
It's not a great lesson. Yeah, but I feel like the inspiration for the whole dancing scene was like a story some woman had about a connection she made with either like a gay friend or like a cousin or something. And like she told the story really well, and they were like, "Oh, we can do that as a scene with Harry and Hermione," and then we got what we got.
Do we know what that song is and who wrote the song? I wonder if it's just that somebody was like, "Hey, we want to have a band, like a popular. Can we get Jarvis Cocker back in here to write some, you know, another shitty Harry Potter song?"
I actually was wondering, like, is this a real like radio friendly song that's out there, and I just don't know of it?
Well,
or
I'm sorry, is Jarvis Cocker a made up name? Is that a real name?
He's a wizard. He's from the Wizarding World.
Okay,
No,
all right.
no, he's the lead singer of Pulp. He was
Pulp.
the guy. He was the guy
Okay.
in the band that played at the party. Remember the?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see Jarvis Cocker play alongside Mundunk.
Mundungus like play something weird like the fucking tuba or something.
One night only, Jarvis Cocker and Mundungus. With the opening act, Creature, spelled with a K apparently, which I just realized.
Are y'all fucking ready to rock? That's Creature.
How bad? Any of you guys read these books?
Yeah, I actually did.
I'm terrible at pronouncing or whatever. How bad did you butcher like half of these names like in your head, like when you're reading them? And then like they say it on the screen. Like for me, it was like Cyrus. It was always Cyrus Black. And then they're like Sirius. I'm like, who the fuck is Sirius? Like it's Cyrus Black.
I can't take this seriously.
That makes more sense because Cyrus is a name, but Sirius is like
Sirius is the name of a
dog,
star.
dog constellation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cyrus the Virus Black.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few more. I can't remember exactly.
Creature, I remember, was more prominent in the books, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he's I can't remember if he does the second movie or I don't know. He fucks him over, but maybe not in the book in the movies. I can't remember.
Yeah, I kind of.
Yeah, not in this one.
He's definitely an asshole. He would fuck him over. He could. But he like does his job here. He goes and he abducts
Dingus.
Yeah, he steals him and like he finds him and abducts him and brings him in. I mean, I was pretty impressed with Creature. Reluctantly, I guess he is a slave. But
this scene was silly. It's like just an excuse to like. Well, is that the dude like from the Romanian school or whatever?
Crumb, Victor
Crumb school.
No, that's not Crumb.
That wasn't like
That's a Death Eater.
the lead.
No, that
no,
guy's
not Crumb. But remember, like he had, I forget the coach or like.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh
teacher.
no, that's not the same actor. No,
I think it was.
I don't think it is.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a chance to get Neville in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is important because Neville has more scenes in the next part.
Spoiler alert.
I did it.
What's her name? I couldn't fucking remember her name.
Umbridge.
Umbridge.
I wasn't know if we were allowed to interrupt you for those. That 2-minute thing. That's all your own.
I usually don't, but
Yeah, sometimes you could.
You were having real trouble with some of the terminology.
Right.
I would have
You're
taken
like the thing with the
the
little
alley-oop
thing that they
there.
do, and those guys, the bad guys, they're riding on the what do you call them, the sweepy things.
I didn't realize this guy is in this scene. We're at the scene where the Death Eaters are taking over the ministry fully now, and I didn't realize the guy
who Harry turns into
Yeah.
is standing next to Umbridge because we get the idea that he's like her underling
right
later, but I also did not realize it until you just pointed to the screen and said something.
Yeah, there's some good like little details where they did. I mean, they made some mistakes, but there are some good little details that really like make the story richer.
Mm.
I feel like they missed an opportunity with those like #1 undesirable posters with Harry on them to have him in the picture like screaming,
yeah,
like he's trapped in Azkaban.
Sirius Black,
or like just doing like something a little more animated, you know?
Yeah, but do they have to have them pose for that, or can they just create that out of wizard magic?
Where's the wizard paparazzi?
And like, because they wouldn't be using. Harry Potter doesn't have a fucking mugshot, like Sirius Black. He would have like
Right.
They could
a
take-
student picture. Yeah,
Maybe
it's a
one when he's
student
like
photo.
celebrating Quidditch. They could turn that.
Oh yeah,
Malicious, screaming.
yeah, exactly. When he's like, "Fuck yeah,
Yeah, exactly. We did it.
everybody's catching the snitch tonight." That's so dumb. I'm sorry.
No,
That was great.
That was good. Yeah. So Chris, you've read all the books.
No, I started at 3. The first 2 don't count.
Okay, you skipped the first 2.
Yeah. Okay. But I've read all the books, and I remember a lot of reading it. It was a while ago, but I caught up. I caught up. I watched 2, and I was like, screw it, I want to read the books, but I didn't. I was like, well, I've already seen the first 2 movies, so I don't need to read that shit. So I started reading 3 before 3 came out. So I was always caught up when I would go see these. I would compare it to the book pretty quickly.
So what was your experience the first time you watched this one? Were you like midnight on Thursday getting out there
Good question.
to see it? And what was your immediate reaction? I know you said that there's a lot of things that are a little disappointing, but any specifics?
I remember my experience in the second one more as far as like I remember like we were actually at Cedar Point. I don't know if you guys know about Cedar Point. It's in Ohio, the best amusement park in the land. Anyway, we were there, and I was like, we got to get back. We got to see Harry Potter. So I remember that vividly. This one I don't remember it, and that's probably because it wasn't as memorable of an experience in the theater. And I think, again, it was just because the book was very powerful, in my opinion, especially at the time. Every book got more and more intense, and like they're like looking for these things. It's like this impossible task. I mean, there's a lot of your imagination ran wild when you read this book, and I don't know if it like, again, it might have been my imagination was too hyped up, or they just weren't able to execute some of the scenes as well that took place in the book. But again, I remember leaving there being like, and I think it has to do with the finale here. It's like kind of like you think they're in trouble, and then shit's just stupid. Like, okay, well now they're not really in peril because this is just gonna happen. So I don't know. Like, it didn't like reach like peak like oh fuckness for me.
Pico fuckness is a great term for like term of art for drama.
Right.
You need to reach pico fuckness in your third act.
Exactly. Or else it's like, it's a letdown. Yeah. So, but again, then watching this again, especially when you watch it as a series on its own, when you're not comparing it to the book, you just watch 1 through 7, or I guess 8. It holds up really well, and it actually does things really right that, again, I kind of missed when I watched the first time because I was comparing it so much to the book. So that's kind of how I felt leaving. I was like, but I was excited for the next one, but I just felt like it just kind of was like, again, the same thing we were talking about, just the meandering, the slow pacing, the weird dance, and just kind of like an anticlimactic finale where I was just kind of like, oh. But again, I think I feel a little bit deeper now. So the Dobie scene gets me a little harder now as like, you know, someone with a little bit more world experience, like loss and all that. And like, you know, at the time I was just like, fuck that little puppet. But
now you appreciate the importance of friendship and loyalty.
Exactly. A little bit more.
Sacrifice.
I thought it was well done. So again, I think it's got great. Rewatching it grows much more on you.
Matt, do you remember the first time you saw this?
I don't, but I think I had mentioned before that I discovered the books and movies later in life, like years after, or it was just the recently. Year. Yeah, it was last week. It was the year that the final movie was about to come out that summer, and so leading up to that summer, I would read one of the books and then watch the corresponding movie, and I would do that all the way up, and it timed out so that I finished the last book. And then I watched, this movie. Probably it was out on DVD or something at that point. And then I went to the theater to see the last one. And that was the only one that I saw in the theater. So I don't even really remember my experience watching this one. But I think it was similar to what Chris was saying, that whereas like you just wanted to see the last one.
Yeah.
Like it was all building to that.
Yeah.
You know, the trailer
like the expectations might have hurt this because you knew there was better stuff coming.
Yeah, but having watched it today, and then having just watched the Half-Blood Prince recently, like Half-Blood Prince was long and slow too, but like boring. I was like, okay, this movie needs to end. Whereas this movie, I appreciated the length and the slowness of it. Like it was, it felt more intentional and like it was building. You know, it was like they took their time with stuff, and I appreciated it.
I feel like the fact that they're in the woods so much or out in the wilderness so much really makes it feel long, but that's also the long parts that I enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, like these,
because they're boring and you like boring stuff in movies.
Agreed.
Just a brief digression. They have to flush themselves down a public toilet to get into the Ministry of Magic, where a bunch of men are just waiting in these lines to get into these bathroom stalls. Can you imagine if you're like a normal person who just walked in there and is just trying to use the can, and the guys are parading one after another into these stalls and then not coming out, and then more guys come in, and like I just think that would be a fun,
London is a
fun
filthy
scenario.
place, man.
Yeah, exactly.
London.
I just think of the train spotting thing.
I think the set piece of the giant statue in the Ministry of like the Muggles being put in their place is like an amazing set piece.
I think the Ministry altogether is just really well done, and I'm glad that, because I didn't enjoy the woods scenes, or they dragged. I felt like we could have tightened the movie up in those spots, but I loved this idea of them going on a heist, and I liked that it got us into a different area and we saw some different things. This is arguably the most exciting portion of the movie. Because like you said, the third act, I mean, I guess the Dobby rescue, and there's stuff that happens in the third act, but this is really one of the most exciting things. But also, having no experience with the books, no experience with the movies, I wasn't really disappointed by a lot. Like it dragged in the middle for me a little bit, but I felt like it was a very rewarding story arc, probably because I don't know about all the other stuff that they could have included from the second half. That's, I assume, listen, if this was the last movie and this is how it was, I would probably be disappointed. I'd be like, man, you kind of got to go out with a bang, right?
Right.
But this being the penultimate movie, hat tip Matt for the great vocabulary. I thought it kind of worked as like a setup, and also, having interesting set pieces and, fun adventures and bonding the three main characters that we've been following together in a fun way.
It does. When you compare it to something, let's just say, Lord of the Rings, those are all movies that are literally, it's one big movie, right? It's broken into three pieces, but that, that does reach peak oh fuckness on all three. Mm-hmm. And it leaves you hanging, but leaves you very satisfied. Whereas this one again, it's a lesser tier, and I know it's dealing with its source materials, dealing with it's Daniel Radcliffe running around and shit. It's different, so it's hard to execute that. But I feel like the execution could have been a little stronger to really end this on holy fucking shit, here we go. And I just don't think it did that. Yeah, to a T.
You're right. You have an opportunity here to really give us the cliffhanger of all cliffhangers, and they give it to you a little bit with Voldemort getting the wand or whatever, but our heroes are kind of left in a place of safety, and yes, they had a loss, but it's a loss of a character who we literally haven't seen for 6 fucking movies. It's who cares really, if Dumbledore had died in this one at the end, and then you see Voldemort get the wand, that would be more.
Matt's note is, let's kill off Dumbledore again.
Yeah. Or I'm saying, die. Kill off a character that's got a little more depth and importance.
Like a Weasley
again, they're
twin.
dealing with the book. I mean, but again, to me, it's just the way, they just, Bellatrix or whatever, they're captured, but, I don't know. It never got, I never got really worried for them. I never felt this is bad. It hints at it. You get little glimmers of oh yeah, okay, but then something else happens and Dobby's hanging from a fucking chandelier. Oh, okay, it's back to kind of goofiness. So then it just
that
doesn't.
Was a nice moment, actually.
It is.
Yeah,
it is, but it's just
funny. That actually made me sadder when Dobby died. That's one of the reasons that it made me sad that Dobby died, because I liked that moment and I was like, I wish they should have had more funny Dobby things.
Right.
For the overall feel and tone of the movies all together, if you're doing a marathon or watching throughout a day or whatever, this one is
long sad day.
Yeah, that's a long
sad day.
This is my life.
Yeah.
If you're not in COVID lockdown, there's no excuse for that. Go ahead.
There's plenty of excuses. In some ways, all there are excuses and not reasons. But this one I like how it fits because it is so different. It's such a departure with no Hogwarts, several characters not there, none of the usual hijinks, all this different kind of stuff. That to have it end and feel unfinished is almost kind of better for that. Because the other movies, they all run together in our minds. We've talked about this. It just seems like one long thing that just never ends. And this one, the way it ends, makes it feel like it's part of a long thing that never ends. I realize that doesn't sound like a positive review, but
at some point I lost the thread of what you're saying, but it sounded like you wrapped up in a confusing place.
So you're saying you like this one because it's different, and it's different by being exactly the same as the other?
Well, I think that's the gist. That's the overall.
I think what I was saying was a little more nuanced.
I did like that this, that's one thing that I found interesting about this is that I love the first Mission Impossible movies, because it's different directors, different things are happening. I kind of dug the first few of these because it was they have Chris Columbus started off, and then Del Toro comes and brings his, not Del Toro.
Alfonso.
Alfonso Cuarón comes and brings his own vibe to it. And you sort of have these distinct directors. Now, the last 3 are all directed by the same guy, I believe. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was interesting that the last one had, visually it looked different. The pacing was different. It just had I think everything about it felt like a different fingerprint on it. And this one looks different. It's sort of paced differently. It has this kind of more methodical, meandering, it feels like a big setup, even though it's got some action sequences. It has all the great outdoor visuals, but even the stuff that is very similar to what they shot in the last one is shot differently. And I just feel like he found a unique voice for this movie that I think separated it in a way that I appreciated.
Sorry,
I
I'm
concur.
just gonna jump in here. What is this ghost cat that's like sitting next to Umbridge? Did I miss that? Right there.
Yeah, it's a ghost cat. I think it's somehow associated with the thing that is holding back the Dementors that are above them all.
It's her Patronus.
Oh right, yeah. Her Patronus.
She
is
loves
the cat.
cats. She's a cat lady.
She's using a Patronus to hold
them
back.
back.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
I actually find this sequence actually really good too, and it's funny how like you actually care for this husband and wife couple too.
Oh
You're
yeah,
like,
love it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know how they pulled that off. We're like, oh my god, I hope he gets his wife out of there.
Yeah.
Like, and then like I think it does a good job of like everything from like there's funny moments and there's serious moments and there's like suspense and then there's action. Like I really do think they.
And Umbridge gets zapped. That was like her comeuppance she didn't get in the other movie. Yeah. Is she dead right
and
there?
then we have this crazy escape where they're running out of the thing and the guy's shooting at them. And also you've got you always know which one Ron is because they kidnapped a ginger just so it wouldn't get confusing.
That is so hilarious.
No, I love that too because sometimes you feel like they're being a little bit too much tell don't show with like what like wizard racism and fascism is, but then like they really give you a scene that shows like, oh, this is people like being persecuted by this new regime or whatever. So
yeah,
you really get a good.
And also
good view
this
of that.
blonde bad guy with the ponytail, he's familiar too. You know who I'm talking about? The one who's about
the one
to
who's
start
going to
chase
them.
them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's definitely like somebody who's in other things.
He's definitely a working actor.
Definitely
of
a
some
working
kind.
actor who's been in movies before.
why would they? Why do you think they would make a choice like that?
They hired actors to play the roles. Brilliant. This will change the movie industry.
Change everything. Oh yeah, I do love Hermione's face when the wife kisses the husband.
And I also
really
like
wrong.
the actual husband showing up in his underwear after just
God,
seeing
yes.
her. She's kissing some teenager.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is good time to like mix like humor with like seriousness. Like I think it works really well here. Like keeps it moving well, and
because this movie could be pretty serious
Right.
and dark.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of like blending in some comedy.
I really
here.
do think this ministry sequence is very well
This
done.
guy right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely from things.
I like the pacing of the whole ministry sequence.
Yeah.
Like, it is like a good 20 minutes of the movie almost if you start with them abducting the people to impersonate and get all the way to them escaping. But it's just moving the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you feel like this guy probably would be more accurate if he wasn't shooting on the move the entire time with his wand as he's chasing them?
I don't know. I don't know. Like it seems like no one's really that accurate with a wand.
Yeah. Well, except unless they're going to like have to shoot a wand out of the guy's hand like Ron just did backwards.
It makes it extra funny that Voldemort's always holding his arms in like weird ways. Like, is that really making you more accurate, Voldemort, or are you just doing it for style, or what?
He's definitely trying to get style points.
Yeah.
He's got a thing. I've got to wait. I can't really concentrate on what we're doing until I ask you a question. So you're from the Cleveland area.
I am from good old Cleveland, Ohio.
Is there a burger place there called like Oh Boy or something? And what am I thinking?
Not
of?
Oh Boy. There's a place called Swenson's.
Mm.
You heard of that? It's basically like Ohio's version of In-N-Out.
Oh, okay.
It's better.
I feel like I had a boss that was from Cleveland and he used to like rave about these burgers, but I think they were Oh Boy burgers.
There's Oh Boy. There's that doesn't ring a bell. Swenson's is the one that really rings. But the funny part about Swenson's is they make you the guys all In-N-Out. You got to wear a goofy hat. Well, this one they have the workers walking around because it's the same time you pull up, and as soon as you see a car, they got to sprint to your car, and if they don't sprint, they will be like fired. And it's pretty comical. You can just pull up there and have a good time just watching these guys really, really work hard.
I just wanted to see you run.
Yeah, exactly.
they just laugh and peel out and drive away.
Just ask them for like, wait, actually, I want this. And they come back and they just got to keep running back and forth. Like, I need actually some ketchup.
I hate this guy. He always comes. I hate this guy. He always comes during an ice storm.
Yeah, but no, I don't know about the other burger.
Don't know about Oh Boy.
No.
Maybe it's from a different part of. Maybe it's from.
It might be.
maybe
Maybe. I've heard Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like he wasn't.
Dayton.
I feel like he definitely wasn't from Cincinnati, because then he would have been talking about eating sweet chili with his spaghetti or something. You know,
yeah,
something
that's pretty
disgusting
much
like that.
That sounds
A bunch of
accurate.
psychos.
He didn't mean Bob's Big Boy, right?
No.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe Big Boy, but that's
it's
pretty
definitely,
common.
It was definitely, I'm 90% sure it's Oh Boy Burgers.
Oh Boy Burgers.
And he would rave about them, and he would actually drive to Cleveland to see family.
No way.
And pack a big bag of Oh Boy Burgers that had Oh Boy Burger sauce, and then drive back to Connecticut with this bag of burgers and like microwave them and make people eat them.
That's hilarious. I'm gonna have to Google that.
Make
It's not
people
ringing bells. Make people eat them.
Are you sure it wasn't like White Castle? Because I know after you eat those, you're like, oh boy, I gotta get to a bag.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's a totally different kind of Oh Boy. But I like the idea of local shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's always like a fun, like there was a time when like Five Guys was just in DC, and then it like branched out to a couple other cities, and now
Chick-fil-A was like
everywhere.
just in the South
Exactly,
originally.
yeah.
Each of the 5 men pods.
Each of the 5 guys went to a different corner of the globe.
They put their greasy palms together and formed a nationwide chain. There's a lot of instances in this movie of like things happening off screen that we're just supposed to just buy. Like we just saw the scene where Ron is like brutally scarred, like his arm is like eviscerated.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, and we don't see how it happens. She just says like, "Oh yeah, the way we like, what is it called?
We
Apparate.
apparated.
Had some-
They went to the place, the house they were at. They went with Gretchen. What's her name? Creature. And then they went right back to the woods. Gretchen, Creature. And yeah, you're right. They don't talk about it at all. They don't show it at all.
And then like later on, at the end when she throws the knife, they're like apparating, and they're basically gone. It's just like a blur of like crap in front of
Somehow
them.
the knife gets
And somehow the knife kills Dobby. Yeah. And
Well, if
then-
Dobby wasn't shooting
Rules.
his mouth off, if he just apparated instead
Right?
of having a whole big speech, they probably would have been okay.
Exactly.
And then Mad Eye Moody dies off screen, which is he really?
That
dead?
happens in the book though too.
He doesn't come back in the next one.
No. Yeah, he did.
He
But
dead?
in the
Oh,
book is the
no.
same way. Like you don't. They show up and they say he never made it. Like so, I'm kind of glad
maybe
they did
that's
that.
maybe that's to keep from, because you want to have a little bit of mystery about what happened with him and
Mundungus.
Mundungus.
Yeah.
I can't get that name.
I think it's all supposed to be kind of. It was like all Harry's POV, so I get why they didn't do that scene at that point.
Yeah, and also because like that's Mundungus disappears, and
Right.
and he's going to come back later. So I guess you want to have that sort of like, how bad is he? How much did he betray Moody and whatever. This is the beginning of the first boring section. I kind of want to like start the clock and see exactly how much time do they spend in the woods. Because it's probably less than we think. It's just that like not a lot happens, so it feels longer.
We just passed by something that I loved. After they realize they can't destroy the Locket Horcrux without something to destroy it with, Ron's like, "This is kind of bad, right? Dumbledore sent us out to destroy these without giving us any kind of information about how to do it." And then Harry says nothing. And I just love it because I really want Harry to be like, "Yeah, it fucking sucks, Ron. It's stupid and it sucks and I hate it."
Do you guys see who that guy was?
Welcome to my life, last 6 years.
Yeah.
Now you know how it feels.
Who was the guy in the Harry Potter flashback, Matt?
It was like this old like Russian guy or whatever he is, and Voldemort's there like threatening him, like he wants the wand or he wants
Yeah,
something.
he thinks he has the Elder Wand.
Yeah.
Right.
That's Grindelwald. They
Grindelwald,
made another movie
who
about
was
that
in the
guy.
I know that guy from
I know
the
that
other
guy.
thing.
Yeah.
From the names of those movies that I'll never watch.
Right,
But
exactly.
before he gets to Grindelwald, he gets this old guy who was played by the actor from Mission Impossible 2. The
Oh yeah, that
what's
guy.
the thing called in that? The
Bellerophon.
Bellerophon. Yeah.
Bellerophon. And
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
also like the homeless guy in Batman Begins who he gives a jacket
And
to.
is he the bad guy in John Wick too?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
what's his name? We should know his name because we've talked.
Baba
His
Yaga?
name is Bellerophon.
Baba
Yaga. Yeah.
Baba Yaga
Baba
is
Yaga.
his John Wick's nickname, right?
Radovich. I feel like I can't ever tell if it's a character name or is he? He's not also the guy from The Saint, is he?
Yeah, he is.
So we've seen this guy in like dozens of movies.
Yeah.
We have no idea.
He's a
what this
license to
actor's
watch
name is.
veteran.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He is like in like a third of the.
We
bonus
just
movies
named
we've watched.
5 of this guy's movies.
Yeah, we definitely can do his top 4 really easily.
We just did.
Yeah. But we do not know his name.
Yeah, I don't know his real name.
I'll look it up. I'll bite the bullet.
Don't. hurt
Speaking
yourself.
of top 4, it's about that time.
Where
Who's gonna run the top 4? It
where
should
am
be
I?
me.
Oh,
I think
here we
it's
go.
you for
Okay.
this series, yeah.
All right, I will do it. I will. Do
And for listeners, by the end of this show, we will know what the next franchise is. Is that right, Colin?
We better.
it. Oh, Colin, you're killing us. Colin has been just for some backstory into the inner workings of License to Watch. Colin has been dragging his feet on franchises. And he says he's got it narrowed down to like 5 or something, and then he's like, "But also these 13 are very good too." So like, I've got it down to like basically every franchise in existence that we haven't covered.
All right, the
And even
actor's
some that
the
we
actor's
have.
name we were just talking about is either Raid or Rade. So it's
Yeah.
Rade, and his
Rade.
last name is Serbedzija. So
Serbedzija, yeah.
Serbedzija.
Chris, how would you pronounce that?
Oh gosh, I zoned out.
Serbedzija.
Sabentia. I don't know.
Sabentia.
I would not do well.
I don't
If I
think
was
I would
reading in my
pronounce
head,
it.
it would be
I would choose
probably
not
like-
to pronounce
yeah,
it.
it would not be good.
Smith.
There'd be a
Radzibedja.
lot of syllables in there that don't belong.
Radzibedja.
This is, I mean, speaking of hard to pronounce names, this also has like a lot of tricky, you got Rice, I think it's Effens.
I always thought it was Reese Ifans. That's how I say his name.
Yeah, but I think,
I effing don't know how to say it.
yeah, I think it's Effens because I think his birth name was Evans, and I think this is the Welsh version of that because the Welsh have a weird way of butchering the English language.
The Welsh version or the Welsh
The
version?
Welsh version of that. The
Welch, like they
The
like guys who
Welch's
make
grape
jelly.
juice
Do not expect them to pay up when they lose a bet. They will not do it.
Then you got these these goth guys here. What are these
The
guys?
Snatchers.
Snatchers.
And what are snatchers
Snatchers.
exactly?
They snatch you.
Yeah, they're literally people who wander around
Yeah,
snatching.
they're trying to find
Are they doing it
wizards.
for money though, or are they part
I
of
think-
Voldemort's team?
part of the team.
I think once the Death Eater government went in, there was an opportunity there for people to wander around and snatch people up.
Yeah, it's probably for a little bit of everything. Money, power.
Yeah. What I want to know
Girls.
is like what were their jobs?
Drugs.
The ladies love a snatcher.
Yeah, ladies love a snatcher. I want to know what they did before this. Like, were they really like?
Listen to some emo music.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, like what made them think that Snatcher was a better choice from whatever they were doing at the time? You know,
They're probably just underground snatching. Yeah.
They're amateur.
They went from
amateur snatching.
They used to steal catalytic converters.
all I did all my life was dream to be a snatcher, and once Voldemort took over, I could finally start snatching.
Yeah.
Wait, why did you just say catalytic converter?
That's what they used to steal. They started with that, then they moved up in the world.
I mean, the principle is the same. You're snatching something.
All right.
Okay. For some
we doing?
reason, I'm having trouble.
What's the Windows background?
Oh man, there are so many bad people. We're gonna do Bill Nye, not the science guy,
Not Domhnall Gleeson.
not Donald Gleason. Donald Gleason has 2 easy ones and 2 pretty hard ones.
You
Bill
always
Nye,
think they're hard, and then like we nail them instantly.
you would not, I don't think, get these.
Well, we'll do him next.
Yeah, Bill Nye has 3 that I think we have a pretty good shot at, and 1 that I've never heard of.
Oh no.
So, we might have to like sound the last one out phonetically.
First word.
But we do have 3 pretty good ones. So,
I'll go first.
No, the guest goes first.
guess goes first.
Oh, my.
Bill Nye.
Yeah. So, what is one Bill Nye movie that might be in his top 4?
Isn't he in the Pirates films?
He is.
Do I need to, is that one of them? Do
I
I need to name
think
exactly which one?
You to
Yeah, 'cause
name
he's in
because he's
number
not
2 and
in.
3.
He's not in a few of them too.
He's in 2
Right.
and 3, so you have to pick 2 or 3.
Oh, you just gave it away.
Yeah, exactly. You narrowed it down for him. Good job, Colin.
All right,
Do you know what
well,
those are called? By
I
the way?
always help you
Yeah,
guess.
Dead Man's Chest.
Nailed it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well done.
Okay, I'm gonna go Love Actually.
Man, Colin, you should have jumped in there second. You're trying to go first.
I wanted to. I wanted to say Love Actually.
Well, you should have jumped in before Matt. We
Fine.
just said guests go first. We didn't,
All
didn't
right.
say you couldn't go second.
Well, I know what my guess is, and
okay.
I'm not going to do Shaun of the Dead, even though that's what we mentioned before. I'm going to do Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
A good guess, but wrong.
Fuck. Wrong. Matt, why did you take my guess?
Yeah, I
Chris,
don't know.
back to you.
I don't know if I have another one. Again, you're gonna say it. I'm like, fuck.
You can use Shaun of the Dead.
Is Shaun of the Dead on there?
Shaun of the Dead is wrong as well.
Wrong.
Shockingly.
I know other stuff that he's in. Bill Nighy. Is he in like Notting Hill? That's my guess.
I don't remember him in that, and it's definitely not on his top 4.
Oh,
Okay, great.
I guess Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
You are going to guess wrong.
Fuck.
All right, so quiz round or clue round. I mean, so one of these movies, the one that we'll be able to get, also stars his castmate from this movie, Domhnall Gleeson, in the lead role.
He's in. Domhnall Gleeson is in the lead role.
Yeah, Domhnall Gleeson is in the lead role, and Bill Nighy plays his father.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Whose guess is it?
Chris, you're up.
It is mine, but I don't got much here.
You can pass if
Just
What a pass. Sorry,
I
guys.
think it's funny that you guys just completely just didn't even try to guess this movie. Don't guess this movie because it's wrong. but
Yeah,
I'm just
we know it's wrong.
I'm shocked
right.
that you
That
guys
is
were stumped
fine.
and this
Yeah.
didn't come up.
The only Domhnall Gleeson movie I could think of where he's the lead is a movie called About Time.
And you would be right.
Oh.
Rachel McAdams, time traveling rom com.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
It's actually a pretty
I
good
was
movie.
told that was good.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
All right.
I like Rachel McAdams.
yeah, everyone does.
Yeah.
Fan.
Yeah.
All right, Colin, I'm going to give you a bunch of information
Yeah.
about
Let's go.
about this final movie.
Go.
And then you will definitely.
Can you give me
not
a rhymes
get it
with?
Right. That is probably we might have to resort to that, but I
Give
don't.
us the year that it came out.
It came out in 2011.
Oh, when the Mavs won the title.
It is a British spy movie about MI5. He is the lead in it. It also stars Rachel Weisz and Michael Gambon
Nice.
and Judy Davis and Felicity Jones and Tom Hughes and other people that we might know.
and it's a movie like that we should have heard of.
And Ralph Fiennes. I mean, there's this many stars in it. I feel like we should have heard of it.
And
I've never
you've
heard
never
of it
heard of
before.
it? Oh, my
It was directed by a guy named David Hare, also written by him.
Rhymes with.
How many words are in the
Yeah,
title?
how many words?
2 words.
Is it English?
It's 2 English words.
Is the name of the movie like a code name for like a operation or something?
No. I'm trying to think of what a good clue would be. It's almost like in the UK sometimes they're
Tea time.
They're
Blimey.
these are all good guesses.
Bloody hell.
Except Blimey's only one word, I think.
Yeah.
In the UK, sometimes their smutty newspapers will have topless girls on a certain page, and this would
Page
not
6.
be, but not that one. It's definitely
Back page.
later in the paper.
Oh.
Back page
No.
beauties.
Backdoor Sluts 9.
Backdoor Sluts 9.
Oh man,
He was so good in that movie.
I think this was shot in
I
Big
mean, Matt,
Bear.
you're really close. You're just
Backbeat.
not so early in the newspaper.
Page 7.
Page
Close.
5.
Close.
Page
Page
4.
Page 8. Nice
Page
job,
8.
Colin.
Page 8.
That's a movie.
Yes, it's a movie called Page 8, somehow.
Man, I gotta check that out.
Wow.
Sounds like a good one. Great cast.
Yeah. Dynamite cast, and apparently it is one of his top 4.
All right, for shits and giggles, can we do Domhnall Gleeson? I feel like we can nail it.
Yeah, I think we should, and you will. Like I said, you'll get 2.
Wait, who's Domhnall Gleeson? Is
He's the older
the
Weasley brother.
the new Weasley that they
with
introduced
the
for some
scratch
reason
on
that
his
is
face.
unclear to me. Yeah. They introduce him. They give him backstory that he's a werewolf.
He's
He's
not in
marrying
movies.
Fleur de
He's not in movies.
And-
Yeah,
No.
he is. He's in a lot.
He's in a bunch.
He's in that About Time movie.
He's in a great. He's in a
I don't
great
know.
episode of
He's in
Black
the,
Mirror with Haley Atwell. My favorite episode of Black
Oh,
Mirror.
is that
him and
boobs
Haley
in
Atwell.
that one?
Doesn't he like live in the attic in that one?
He lives in a box, I think. She's
Oh,
got to
yeah.
unpack him.
Yeah.
All right. So once
He's like
again,
a robot.
Guess. Yeah, he's a robot.
Yeah.
He's kind of a sex robot.
Yeah.
So once again, guests go first. Name a Domhnall Gleeson movie.
He's in the Star Wars movies.
Oh, isn't he? I'm gonna
Yeah.
guess
Is it
something.
The Last Jedi.
You are wrong, but he is
Wrong.
Oh, jeez,
But one
Or
of
the-
his
the
movies
Force.
is not a Star Wars movie, or you're not at
I
liberty.
just hit
to
the
say.
wrong one.
I don't think I should say.
I'll just say Force Awakens.
Well, you are also wrong.
Damn.
Wrong.
And you guys should probably stop guessing Star Wars.
Ah, you
Well,
bastard.
Is he an Ex Machina?
He
Yeah.
is an
Oh,
Ex
he is in
Machina.
it.
That is
That's
one
my
of,
guess.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
a
one
good
of the
one.
2 easy ones that you guys would get quick.
Did I get it correct?
You did get it.
That's my
correct.
first points on the board.
Nice
good.
job, buddy.
Because someone
Not
stole
get-
Love
not getting
Actually.
skunked.
Isn't he in those? Oh, you guys, we're getting to the best dancing scene, by the way. I don't know.
Oh,
Don't wanna watch
oh,
it.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
this is the part that I insist on ignoring. I'm
Honestly,
not going to look
we
at the
got-
screen. It's so
Isn't he in
bad.
Peter Rabbit?
He might be. I don't know. It's definitely not in his top 4.
I've never seen it.
Man,
Wrong.
He is in that.
man
Yeah.
this scene is so fucking weird. I like not liking it.
I'm gonna say.
Yeah, she's looking at him like, "What the fuck
Yeah,
are you
she's
doing,
like,
dude?
I don't want to
I
dance.
don't want this."
I'm not consenting to
Can we
whatever
sing-
you're
can you
doing.
sing
He's
the
like,
song?
don't worry about it. Nothing I'm doing is going to resemble dancing.
There you go. Yeah.
Can we try to sing the song?
He's doing the white man overbite too. while
Yeah,
he
like
dances.
he's doing weird stuff with his mouth again.
Hey, little train, wait for me. I was held in chains, but now I'm free.
Oh my god, I
I'm
really want
hanging
to
in
look
Oh
up
there.
this
yeah,
song
I
now.
spin you,
See.
you spin me.
Somebody look
here
up
we
the
go.
song so I don't have to lose my Domhnall Gleeson page.
I'm gonna guess Dread.
This part, this right here, that what is he doing with his heels? Like turning him out, making himself extra pigeon-toed. And why is he forcing the closeness into this? You know, like in this kind of like we're just dancing for fun. Like why is there like it's a lot of touching, a lot of touching, a lot of, and
Telling
not
you.
just with the hands, with the body.
You know,
too.
you
Telling
do
you, the
touch people
studio
when you
exec
dance,
said
which is
more.
I know. but-
it's one of the reasons I don't like dancing.
but, fair.
Here we go.
It's just what is this?
Are they gonna smidge?
Are they going to make out? Are they going to snog? Is he going to snog her so hard? Matt guessed Dread, which is wrong. Colin, you want to take a commanding lead? Stop thinking so hard.
This movie, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part
That
1.
wasn't what I meant.
Oh, fuck.
Wrong.
It is the clue round now. I should give you guys a clue. My clue is, guys, we already talked about this
On
fucking
time.
movie. About time.
About time.
Yes.
Damn it.
About time.
About time we figured that
The only
out.
movie that Matt knows that Domhnall Gleeson is the lead
Yeah.
in, and he
That
didn't
was-
guess
yeah,
it
that's bad.
twice. Okay.
I got confused because we said it already.
All right. Now it gets hard. So
So we've gotten 2 out of 4. Is that
Wait,
right?
can we talk about something real quick? Can we pause about this?
pause the game.
This making out of the snitch. Like he just
Oh,
decides
yeah.
to start tonguing it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wish
Like,
I wanted to
seems
see
real
more
random.
tongue.
What? Yeah, I mean, did the filmmakers at that point be like, we don't know how the fuck we're gonna do this, so let's just have him just fucking do it and not try to explain it because
Oh, I
there's
would-
zero explanation of why he just starts kissing the snitch.
I would love a fly on the wall of the director telling him like, yeah, just go with it. You're gonna put it in your mouth in some way. Just go with it.
You know
Yeah.
what they should have done?
Right.
They should have showed him laying there looking at the snitch and like seeing the flashback of him playing that first Quidditch game. And, you know, you see a shot of him like zooming by and then it cuts back to him. And then the shot of him like reaching for the snitch and then back to him. And then the shot of him
his
falling
mouth.
and it's like he pulls it out of his mouth.
Mm.
And then after
Yeah.
that, he like
he puts it together.
Yeah,
I don't think you would even
as an alternative.
Yeah.
What if you shot it where like he's sitting there in the tent and he's like, "Man, we don't have any food, and you can't just create food. I'm so
there's
hungry."
chocolate
And then
inside.
he's like, he's checking his pockets, and all he sees is like empty candy bar wrappers. And then he takes out the snitch, and he's like, "No." And then he's like, "Well, maybe."
Then he looks over at
Like,
Hermione and he's like,
Right.
maybe?
He just like licks. Yeah, he looks over at Hermione and she looks like a giant chicken leg.
Drumstick.
And he's like, "Wait a minute, no, let's try the snitch first."
Yeah.
Hermione's plan B.
Could he bite down on it really hard, so hard that it hurts his teeth, and he does maybe like a yow wow 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 wee or something like that?
Yeah, these are much
Eyes
better
bug
ideas
out.
already, guys. We
his
should have
eyes
been
bug
there.
out.
We're definitely staying in tone with this movie.
Yeah. I mean, or maybe he saw like an image of Hermione.
Yeah.
Just trying to like get some,
Yeah, just
tongue.
like
he's been trying to. He's been trying to tongue her the whole time, dude. Yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, this is the next best thing.
I think you
going for it.
And she's like, "Kiss me, Harry, with a closed mouth, and let's never go any farther."
Let's never go any further.
He just writes vagina in Sharpie on it.
Don't even
I
use
could
your
buy
lips.
that.
Just
I
make
could
our
buy
faces
all that.
touch.
Let's get married and never have sex.
Never.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. You read my mind.
Let's be in the same room, but not touch, but then touch, but not touching in a weird way.
Sure.
All right, we go
Okay.
back to. Sorry,
Yeah,
thanks
let's
for
go
the
back to
pause.
the
I
top.
just
Let's-
had
What the
to,
fuck
I had
are
to
we
bring that
talking
up.
about?
Let's go back to the top four.
I'm not very good at this game.
Another Domhnall Gleeson movie. This is based on, I think it's Matt's turn. This is based on a famous Russian novel.
There's so many to choose from.
There are. That's why it's a good hint.
Russian novel. And this is a fairly recent movie.
I'll help you out. It's 2012.
Ooh, what? 2012. Is this?
And the lead actress bears more than a passing resemblance to Emma Watson.
Is it Keira Knightley?
Speaking of the Harry Potter connection.
No,
No, the movie is not Keira Knightley.
no, it's the actress.
Keira Knightley, the movie.
Man,
I'd see it.
I would too.
I don't know. The only one I can think of is like, shit. It is like, I could think of books, but and movie adaptations, but they're
I've
not
heard of
like
books.
from that time. Is there one that's like fucking like Anastasia or something like that? I know I
guess?
can't think of a movie. Sure, Anastasia.
No, that is wrong.
Yeah,
Is
of course.
Anna Karina the name of the movie?
Yes, that's
It's
the one.
very close. It's Anna Karenina. We'll accept
That's
it.
the same. I said Anna Karina.
And that's correct. That's
Yeah,
right.
that is
Yeah.
correct.
I am-
Anna
And that's
Karenina.
is that with
Dumb.
Keira Knightley?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is with Keira
That's
Knightley.
where I
Yeah,
fucking
I'm-
mind was
I'm
going.
dominating
But
the
Anastasia
Domhnall.
is also the Russian princess who was executed by.
I knew it was Anna
which is not
something.
the same person or the same movie.
They made it.
Anastasia's animated. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the last movie, I'm going to give you a couple of clues here. It's Chris's turn. This came out in 2014. The title is a single word, which is a man's first name, and it is a movie.
Mundungus.
And it is a movie. It is a movie, and very similar to Mundungus. It's a movie about a band.
Okay.
Oh shit!
And is he like a lead in this, or is he more of like a?
He is not the. There is a lead in this movie that isn't him, but he is like an important character in the movie.
And is it a true story?
No.
Rudderless.
What?
No, that's because it's a name.
Yeah, it's got to be a name.
Whoops.
A man's first name.
Paul Rudderless.
No.
I don't know.
Matt, do you have a guess?
It's a man's name, a first name or like a full name?
It's a first name, just the first name.
Was this like
It's
an
indie.
Oscar?
It's an indie film.
Oh, is it like Adam or something?
It is not Adam. No.
Wrong.
I'll give you a little more of a hint. The lead actor is a famous actor, but I don't really remember the film. I don't think we ever see his face in the movie. The lead actor. We
His
definitely see Domhnall.
face?
Yeah, we don't see his face.
What?
And it's about He's a
Yeah,
rock.
musician.
In
It's
like
about
a
a
mask?
band. Yeah,
A
it's about
musician who
band.
wears a mask. Oh,
Phantom of the
Kiss?
Opera?
No, Kiss doesn't wear. That's makeup.
And that isn't a man's name.
And he
that's
said it's
man's
not a
name.
real person.
Yeah, not a real.
Totally
Yeah, there's a
made
number of conflicts with that guess. Also, it's not a movie. There's a lot going on there.
Daft Punk.
I feel like once again, it's an indie film, and
Who else is in it?
I think the only other person you know is the lead, which I think might give it away, but maybe I should just do that. The reason you can't see his face is because he's wearing kind of a giant mascot head.
Oh,
Is it like? No, wait a minute.
No, it's not fuck.
I know, but oh my god,
Fuck is also not a man's name.
doesn't the mascot head kind of looks like the Happy Honda Days guy or something?
It does actually.
Yeah.
Got Maggie Gyllenhaal in it.
Yeah. Oh, I knew that. Oh man, I know this movie.
I don't know. It's like some silly name like Walter
Got
or
Michael
something.
Fassbender as the lead.
Rick? Is it Rick?
No, but right last letter.
Shit.
Dick?
No, just
Right
the right
last
one
letter.
last letter.
Frank?
It is Frank.
Yes.
Fuck! I was so
Just
close.
a random.
I can't believe I knew
Matt's
what
just
you were
guessing
talking
random names that end in K.
But I
Well,
can't
because
believe I
there's
knew what you
another
were
movie
talking about.
called Robot and Frank, I think, which is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Oh, I've
similar.
seen
That's
Robot
with,
and Frank. I like
That's
that.
with what's his name?
That has
Frank
Susan
Langella.
Sarandon in it, if I'm not mistaken. Robot and Frank.
I think so. Yeah.
And it's
And
got
a robot.
And what's the guy's name?
The
in
robot's
it?
great.
Frank Langella.
Yeah, Langella.
Who's
Yeah.
now problematic. Did you guys hear about this?
Wait, no, I didn't
hear
know
about
that.
that.
Canceled?
He got canceled. Yeah, he got fired
Oh,
off
man.
of
What
the
happened
new
with
the
him?
new Mike Flanagan like Netflix series that's coming out. The
House of Usher, Fall of House of
House
Usher.
of the Fall of Usher. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently he was very, I guess, just very familiar with people, and it made people uncomfortable.
Yes.
And
Oh.
he sounds like it sounds like he's like a real old Hollywood guy who's like slaps people on the ass and calls them hun, and thinks
Oh,
can't do that.
thinks he can get away with that, and a lot of them do. And then
He is
now
old
some
as
of them-
fuck.
I know, like he definitely is
you
from
know,
that era.
I don't
So
know
you
if
can
that's
kind
a
of
real
imagine-
defense, but he
No,
is
no,
old
you
as
can-
fuck.
You can kind of imagine it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That like he just doesn't know any better.
I mean, you can't play Skeletor and not act that way. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
Back
No,
to
you're
this.
thinking of Robert Loggia.
what?
Different guy.
No, Frank Langella.
Frank Langella didn't. I thought that was Robert Loggia that played Skeletor.
No, look it up, dude.
All right, I will.
Look it up. Stop the podcast.
Well, first of all, I'm already looking up. Oh, it's Nick Cave who sings the song "Oh Children."
The song from this movie?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
From the
apparent-
dancing scene?
yeah, and apparently not written for this movie. It was from one of his albums.
Wow, shit. So it is a real
It is
song
a
and
real
not
song.
some goofy like Harry Potter band song.
It figures that like I wouldn't know a Nick Cave song. I feel like
It kind of is what you were saying, where they did choose someone who we like should know for some reason.
Right,
though.
exactly.
Yeah.
Are any of you guys watching Stranger Things, the new season?
Of course,
No.
I've seen it all.
Did you catch who Grindelwald is in this movie?
no.
The like young blonde Grindelwald who hops out of a window.
Oh, Grindelwald Young? Is he
Yeah.
the same as Vecna or whatever?
Yeah,
Or 001?
he's 001.
I just did a spoiler though.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, you're right. It is Frank Langella. I don't know
That
why I always
Hermione
thought it was
saving
Robert
Harry's
Loggia.
ass again.
Oh, well,
Pretty sure she
there-
does.
it wouldn't be a Harry Potter movie if Hermione didn't do something
Yeah.
to
Right.
bail Harry's stupid ass out.
Harry's
Yep.
following in the footsteps of Dumbledore, where he doesn't actually do shit.
I mean, he does more like I'm seeing the things like where his Patronus is like
Look
a
at this
thing. And I
location.
don't know. Yeah, I know it's
Oh,
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's cool.
Great.
I
Yeah,
like the
this is-
Nagini scene, but I feel like they're like setting something up about Nagini that I'm forgetting from the next movie. Like
What's a Nagini again?
that's the
Nagini's
yeah,
Snake.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
right.
Nagini. I just think they should have done a red sauce instead
No,
of a
wait,
white
they're-
sauce.
they're- I know what they're I know what they're setting up because Colin already spoiled it for me that Nagini's a Horcrux.
Oh, damn it, Colin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on,
I
man.
did that like 2 movies
I know,
ago.
I know, but I thought I would
Nagini-
forget, and I actually remembered.
is Nagini an actual person? Is there like a human in there?
I think it's just
I don't
a
think
snake.
so. No,
But it
it's-
can transform into people clearly. Which
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yes,
the
Colin
first.
basically gave away 2 of the Horcruxes, and like the biggest ones.
That
yeah, yeah.
when that
Thanks a
happened
lot,
in the that happened in the book or in the movie, it was kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. It's like, wait, now the snake could be a person. I don't remember that like being a thing until like this part.
I
I'm like,
appreciate that the woman never said a word,
Right.
but that's kind of cool.
I was a little frustrated during that whole part because like they knew they were going into a dangerous area and then they trust this old woman and she's clearly bad and
It's freaky as shit.
yeah.
Right. I didn't get though, like, does he find the lady who wrote the book, or is the lady who wrote the book dead? I didn't understand, like, is that just a dead end?
I think so. They found out more about the Deathly Hallows, and I think
Right.
They
But
saw
I was still had it in my head that they were going to get information from this
Right.
old lady, and
Right.
then it's like, oh no, the old lady was a snake. But is it the same old lady? Is it like the explanation of that I didn't totally get and was confused by, similar to the mirror thing. I felt like I was missing something that was a little more important than something you just like sort of forget about.
I think the most important thing about it is that they see the symbol again, the symbol of the Hallows, the triangle with the circle with the line.
Yeah, right. And something about she's talking about something here.
And keeping up with the Harry Potter tradition, we see that Grindelwald looks totally different than every other actor
right.
that's
He's
ever
played by a
him.
different actor every time.
And they just don't mention it.
There's another instance where she's explaining what happened to we didn't see off screen when his wand broke.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
There's
felt
just
like
a lot going on in this movie. Man, the book's huge. Can't just shoot it all.
We just can't shoot it all. Yeah, well, they'll get the point. We just show the aftermath.
I like
Have
that they
Hermione
sort of-
explain it.
They've been on the run for a while, but they're still wearing pretty sharp clothes that look like they've
Yeah.
laundered.
Yeah, they
She
went
can
full
put
on J.
anything
Crew
in
in
the
this
bag.
one.
Yeah.
But the beginning, yeah, she put a washing machine in there. The beginning, I was amazed at how dirty they all looked. Like even when they were like leaving Harry's house and they go to the Weasleys, and then even after they've had time to like bathe themselves, they still have like smudges all over. He's got smudges on his face right now. His sweater's spotless though. And he's looking in this mirror that just this entire movie, every time we took the mirror out, I was like, where the fuck did this come from? And then he drops it on the ground and I was like, what is the significance of the mirror?
Also, he's freezing cold already, and he's about to get a lot colder, and then it gets completely ignored as well. Just
Right.
a
Yeah.
lot-
Like,
I
not
I
going
was
to die
watching-
of frostbite. Here.
Right. That kind of took me out of it a little bit once we get to that point. I mean, I know broomsticks and shit, but like,
But yeah, also
come on, man!
frostbite
Like
is real.
this dude was just swimming below like frozen lake.
Yeah.
And then just like having a combo after.
I'm just thankful they didn't do CGI like smoke coming out of their like breath, like cold breath.
Mhm.
I hate when movies do that, and you can tell it's fake.
Yeah, I think they're getting better at it though. And honestly, what drives me crazy is
How hard is it to make it real? You just make it cold as fuck.
It's
Yeah,
actually
that's the
kinda
old
hard.
days.
It's kind of hard because you're trying to like actually. I mean, you have to shoot in a place that's freezing cold, and then you have to keep people. You know how hard it is to keep a bunch of people warm on set. It sucks shooting someplace that's cold. It is terrible. But anyways,
It's kind of sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's kind of shitty. We can't spoil anything for you, Harris, because like there's stuff to talk about here that would contain
I
spoilers.
think we can talk about
And
what it means in this movie, which
in
is
this
that
part,
they
you're
never
just seeing
explain
some shit.
Yeah, there's a Patronus that guides them
to the river or to the lake.
Yeah, where the
to
sword is.
Yeah,
and it guides both Ron and Harry.
Right.
And we never learn what that is, which I guess that should have frustrated. There's all these other loose ends that totally frustrate me. I assume that this is going to be explained. If you were going to tell me that this is never explained, I'd be like, that's it. I fucking quit. I'm not even watching the last movie. I'm abandoning this entire podcast just to avoid having to watch his last film.
Also, am I forgetting, or did I miss something? Like, are they just in the middle of nowhere and they just happen to be right near where this thing is, or are they kind of led to this area for some reason?
It's a very good question.
I don't think the movie really tells you one way or the other. This is the woods where they've been hiding, like some part of it.
Right.
I don't know how big this like wooded area is, but like they're in some part that they've been in, like a similar location.
Right.
We've been walking around this nature preserve for weeks.
And I do think whatever is helping out there, like, has been kind of tracking them, whatever.
Yeah.
Also,
I think the sword is drawn to them though. Like the sword didn't just go there.
That's
because
like
it
without
went
any
there.
explanation. I didn't assume that the sword was like hidden in this lake that they happened to be
No.
going to. I assumed
No.
that like
It was-
the sword was sent there somehow
Right.
to help them by someone.
Oh, I see.
Don't you think Harry probably had some sort of fucking magic thing. They could have like just hot tubbed that thing up real quick.
Yeah,
just like bubbles start fucking coming. It's like, oh, there we go. Dude,
if Hermione was there or awake, she absolutely would have known.
Right. Hermione would be like, hold on a second, we're gonna make this
how
fucking
about
nice.
this thing? How about not jumping into the water to get the sword while you're still wearing the fucking Horcrux that you're going to try to murder with the sword?
Right.
Maybe wake up your friend and be like, hey, can you hold the Horcrux for a second? I got to go get this sword to kill this thing.
Yeah,
What are you, daft?
See, Harry's again. Someone's got to come. Someone's got to come bail him out again.
His own worst enemy.
Yep.
But I did think this was cool. Like, I kind of knew that it was going to be, like I kind of saw it coming, and I got ahead of the movie a little bit because I knew it was going to be Ron there somehow. But I did kind of like that, we don't know at first, and then he's out, and it's Ron, and they have like this moment where they kind of reconcile. I thought it was nice. Like, I knew that it was going to happen because it kind of had to, but I appreciated it.
I really like story-wise that Ron is the one to destroy this Horcrux, and Harry tells him you should be the one to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Not just because Harry can't do shit, but because it makes sense.
He's like,
that's book shit too.
Yeah.
That's like straight from the book, and it's good. That's where like in lesser hands would have been like Harry has to do it.
Yeah, it did frustrate me how long it takes him. Like, all it is go whack this locket with a sword.
Oh no, that's.
Well, I got a theory about this too. I'll let you. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, go with your theory.
Well, it just blows my mind that this Horcrux, like, I feel like it had him going for a bit, right? Like, you're a fucking loser, like whatever, like you idiot. But like, also, I don't know if that's a smart play, like, because like it eggs him on, like it's like, come on, like, why don't you fucking just like.
You're such a bitch. I bet you couldn't even destroy me if you tried.
Exactly. If Horcrux was smart, it would have like just shown like full frontal Hermione like stripping for him, and he would have just been like just hanging out, like eating popcorn. He wouldn't have tried to destroy that thing.
Don't hit me with that sword.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Destroy it, but why?
But why?
No, this is cool.
This is good shit right here. Like I just
like, no, maybe you got the wrong angle. Come over here from the front. Exactly. This looks really good.
Yeah. Like. Bad move by the Horcrux, dude. Yeah. Like, showed him everything that would make him want to destroy the fuck out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's also, I mean, and by the way, we haven't really pointed out, they're in the same woods, but they do a nice job of making it look like a different woods by just the snow, the frost and snow everywhere. This scene looks great, the woods looks great, and the VFX in the Horcrux looks significantly intimidating. But I do think, like, at some point, I don't know, his best friend's screaming at him. He knows the Horcrux is trying to fuck with him. I guess, and the Horcrux has been around their neck, so I wonder if it can, like, it's like bonding with them in a way and kind of sees what their darkest fears are.
Yeah, of course. We know that Ron doesn't like spiders. I like that they brought that back.
So it's like they've sort of invited it in a way. But look how weirdly fake they look in these things.
Yeah.
So I don't know, did they put a filter on them, or because there's a real uncanny valley thing with these fake Hermione and Harry that are telling him he's such a shithole. Yeah.
When they're naked and their skin's so slick.
It's about to happen.
Oh, Colin, less.
Oh my god.
This is like some really racy shit here.
I think I saw a butt cheek.
Yeah, I love that the first instance of it is you kind of see his ass.
Yeah.
And again, like, this would do anybody in the right mind would be like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Taking the sword right now.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like it's trying to upset him, but it's like the Horcrux doesn't realize you're upsetting him, and he's still
got one
has
option.
The sword in his hand.
He's got one. There's only one way to end this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I just want to stop this movie of my friends fucking.
Right, exactly.
What do I have to stab with this sword
do.
to stop this particular porno?
Right.
Huge blunder by the Horcrux.
There's only one way to end this.
Self-own.
He just starts beating off.
Oh no! Maybe that's what he was going for.
Is that what the Horcrux thought would happen?
Get a little
It's
tired.
like, yes.
Fall asleep.
what
Ron's got cuck fantasies.
What is real Harry doing the whole time?
Yeah.
Please stop beating it.
Hermione's like, you could never please me. He's like, yeah, that's what I want to hear. Tell me how naughty I am.
Oh God!
But
Tell me what a disappointment I am.
I feel like that scene again, just back to like this studio was like, how do we get Harry and Hermione to just be fucking on screen? Like, I got it. The Horcrux, the Vision.
Their first pitch was like a Ron Cuck fantasy,
Right,
like
right.
maybe a dream sequence where Ron's like imagining them getting it on.
So that was the resolution of a real tense board meeting at Potterverse.
Yes, exactly.
I was thinking, there was a second where I was like thinking when her reaction to him to finding out that her boyfriend has returned and saved Harry's life and whatever is like being pissed off at him. And at first I was like, this is yet another movie thing where they've got to cause drama and conflict between these characters and it's not really realistic. And then I was like, on second thought, if your boyfriend like ditched you and your buddy on this deathly, dangerous mission
Months
and just
long,
disappeared for months and then showed up again like, hey, I'm back, I'm ready to help. And you'd be like, no, wait, fuck you hard for a little while.
It's the way he left. The way he comes back is not so bad, and I think it like eventually diffuses the situation, but like the way he left was just so bad on such bad terms.
But also, it's not like she chased after him.
Yeah,
she was like,
not.
oh no, he left the tent. How would I ever convince him to come back? I'd have to probably walk several feet.
The tent is the only place for us.
Yeah.
Stay in the tent with me and you and you.
This is kind of a silly moment where he's like describing how his light toy works.
Yeah. But it's sweet though.
It is cute.
The word flashlight sounds like flashlight. It's very different, I can assure you.
I kind of wonder if this is all just bullshit so he can impress her. He's like, oh yeah, no, it was just like the glowing orbs just like zipped back to them and he followed them. But really he's like, no, I heard your voice
it's
calling my name.
It's a special soul bond.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like, I can only be summoned by your true love, who you really are into.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
After I destroyed that Horcrux that showed me the way you and Harry fuck. I know now.
Also, the light thing or the Horcrux or something said you and Harry would not have good chemistry, and it would be really weird. So in case you were ever thinking about that, just so you know, Horcrux told me, not good.
Just in case, while I was gone for months, you weirdly danced in the tent in some...
I saw it all. It was very embarrassing for me to watch
the
you do
Horcrux
that.
is like, you guys can't even dance well. Just so you know, stick with Ron is what the Horcrux told me. Not my words, the Horcrux. People have been saying, Horcruxes have been talking. They've been saying, Ron's probably the better option for you. Do what you want. I don't want to weigh in here. I want to bias your opinion.
Let's just say I saw it all, and Nick Cave is rolling in his grave, and he's not even dead.
He's not even
dead. Should we start wrapping this thing up?
I think that's a good idea, seeing as sometimes it takes hours.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we give like a little summary of our thoughts, and then we give it a rate on 1 to 10.
Yeah, is there anything we've possibly missed that we haven't talked about already?
I got one
covered
thing.
It all right? Oh yeah, okay.
I watching this again, especially like in this day and age where strong women like have to be a thing.
Yeah.
I found this like really refreshing. It just reminded me that like strong women have always been a fucking thing if it's done right. Because like Hermione is the fucking OG in this. I mean, she's always been, but sometimes it comes off a little snooty. Sometimes it comes off like, it's Leviosa.
They have to add that so it's just like she's not the perfect character. They have to give her like a flaw, which is that she's kind of a know-it-all.
Right, but in this one, like, dude, she pulls out all the stops and she is like, it's just perfect. It goes perfect with her character. And it doesn't feel like forced, like, oh, the woman is teaching the men a lesson. Like, none of that shit is anywhere near this film. I think she
doesn't like overtly say like, see, women are smart.
Right.
Too,
It's none of that shit. It's like pre-woke.
Witches can be wizards too.
Like very refreshing. It just reminds me that like this shit has been happening for a long time. So like, I think when people tell you like, oh my God, women just don't get the proper, respect in films, it's like bullshit. Like you take this movie as a great example of like she literally saves their ass in 1,000,001 ways, and I just think she rocks in this film.
Also worth really noting that the two best villains in this series I think are also women.
Yeah, I think what's her name? I was going to say earlier.
Imelda Staunton.
No.
Umbridge.
No,
Bellatrix.
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 She's great in this movie.
Yeah.
It really is coming out as like the top villain. Like even like Voldemort, I'd have a beer with Voldemort. You know, like chill with him.
Yeah, you don't want to.
I talked to him about how he holds his wand. It's very strange, but
I would want
like trying too hard, Voldemort.
Oh, of course, yes. I would want to see a little more Luna doing things, but I mean, you know,
I like Luna's house. I like Luna's dad. I like this dirigible plums. That's great. Like, it's all just weird shit.
And now we're getting to Luna's dad, who is just the biggest fucking weirdo.
We forgot about this whole bit, which is actually cool. The animation sequence.
Oh, yeah. That's what we should talk about. That was maybe my favorite part of this. And that's probably what made it for me.
Oh, the story of the Hallows.
Yeah, exactly. And that just, first of all, the animation is fucking fantastic. They do it like it's like a silhouette light box thing, but it isn't. It has real depth, and they get the best of both worlds. They get like really simple animation that's silhouettes, but they also get this great detail to like death with his cloak and his robes and his bony back and everything, and these guys, and you get this whole story about the Deathly Hallows being these mythical weapons, and I don't know. I loved it, and that's probably for me what pushes this over the top from being like maybe a little bit of a disappointment because of some of its flaws. But then you have like, honestly, I think one of the best, most interesting, beautiful sequences in this entire series that is totally a big swing, and they nail it, and I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. It's just it's so different, and it's so like it just seems there had to be people questioning it, like, is this the wrong choice? And like it works. It absolutely works. And I love that it starts out with a little joke of like Ron trying to come in and tell the story, and like Hermione's like, no, I'm reading it out of the book, okay? Like
as much as I just talked up Hermione too, that is the one thing about it that I'm like, I don't think they could have done it any other way, but hearing Hermione speak it, just, I don't know, it stood out a little bit more. Maybe because I'm just thinking of like that naked scene I just saw of her. And I'm just like, and she's just like such a babe,
when she says these words.
But like, so it takes a little bit, but I agree. I think it's really, really, really well done and a great choice. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, and so what does this story really mean? It's just describing, like, are these three people that they're talking about people that are we supposed to correlate this, or it's just a story just to get us to understand what
I think it's like one of those things where it's what I, not knowing probably as much as you guys, but what I take from this movie is that it's like how we have kind of like our myths that explain real things, and this is kind of like, who knows if there actually were three brothers but these actual magic artifacts are real, were created at some point. There's probably some element of truth, like biblical flood stories and stuff. This is the wizard version of like a biblical flood story where there absolutely probably was some natural disaster that changed the ecosystem or whatever, and we explain it through, because the flood isn't just in the Bible, it's in a lot of religions. So it probably, something like that happened, and everyone had to explain why, and these real artifacts exist, and this is part of how they explain why, whether it's exactly happened like this or not. This is just kind of like how wizards explain to their children how these things happened. And, and it's also a parable about like, these guys this guy wants power and the other guy wants love and the last guy wants to be left alone.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that's spot on.
Yeah,
so animation style. The style of it's just so
cool.
good.
I would watch a whole movie like this.
Yeah.
But it's actually, like this you'd have to kind of try to find interesting ways to keep it visually interesting like this, because it's like monochromatic and everything. But in a short, you don't have to do that. Like this works perfectly for how, like, it's like what, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, it's a short sequence.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to mention is about the finale, which is basically, how do they summon Dobby again? How do they get Dobby into the prison?
He just kind of shows up, and they're
Dobby,
like, what?
Dobby figures out that that's where they are. I think.
Mirror. Isn't it the mirror?
Oh, yeah, it is the mirror. Yeah.
Oh, right, because he talks in the mirror, and whoever he's talking to in the mirror sends Dobby.
Yeah, and we know. You don't know who that is.
I don't know
we
who
know who
that is. But yeah.
Have you ever seen Beer Fest?
Yes.
Yeah,
I know I have.
Remember how Landfill dies, and they're like, can we just call you Landfill?
I prefer if you call me Landfill.
Yeah,
that's identical brother.
That's what the mirror makes me think of. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not.
Yeah, I'm kind of piecing it together because there's another hint in this that seems like that. There's another hint in this that seems like a retcon where they're like, oh, I didn't even know Dumbledore had a brother. Is that what we're talking about? Yeah. Because that definitely was like, oh, that's not setting up anything important.
Maybe I prefer it if you call me
That is one of the ultimate, like in cinema, just ways to just kill someone and then bring them right back.
Yeah, exactly. That's, I mean, honestly,
twin brother.
I was kind of surprised when he said that. I was like, oh God, please don't say it's his twin brother. It's an identical twin brother with a slightly different beard manicure.
He's wearing a cowboy hat instead.
Exactly.
There reminds me of,
exactly like Dumbledore in every way, but he likes cowboy hats.
It's like City Slickers 2 did that also.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Legend of Curly's Gold.
Exactly. This is if they pull a City Slickers, I'm out on this entire franchise. I'm just like, no, flat out, no. We can't have a twin brother. But,
It's like, wait, we can't make another City Slickers movie and not have like the best guy from the first
yeah.
movie.
And
that's so
it's
good.
so ridiculous too because they mention him for the. So this is part one of a 2-part thing that's taken from one book. So clearly she got to this book and she was like, oh man, I
Shouldn't
need a
have done
Dumbledore brother. Yeah.
Should have kept him around a
Oh,
little
man.
longer.
Black sheep of the family. They don't talk about him much, but he totally exists and always
And
has.
they kind of do it twice in this movie too, don't they? Set up that Sirius Black has a brother that no one
Yeah.
really knew about.
Regulus.
Yeah.
Regulus.
Regulus Black,
Regulus.
who's far
Well-
more normal than Sirius.
But they set up.
But a little goofy, not as serious.
They said a Black had a whole family tree, though, and like they kind of.
Yeah, we were in his house and we saw the family tree.
it doesn't
so
it
that's-
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's a little less
Well,
egregious than
right.
being like, oh, we're wrapping this thing up. And by the way, this important
you know?
character has an unknown brother.
Wasn't there an old baseball manager named Whitey? Do you think there was a Whitey Black?
Whitey Black. Yeah. He was actually an old wizard Quidditch player.
Yeah.
Back in the days, it was before they segregated the Quidditch leagues where house elves were allowed to play.
Yeah, before
So,
the designated whatever designated
snitch fighter.
bludger, what I don't know.
Designated seeker.
Yeah,
That was-
designated
they didn't have a
seeker.
designated sneaker back.
Yeah.
Seeker back then. It was anybody's.
Yeah,
game.
the pitcher had to hit.
Anyways, back to my point about about
It was
about
before all the
Dobby.
replay cameras too.
Yeah,
The game was a
Yeah.
lot quicker.
Yeah, exactly. It moved a lot faster. The good old days. So my thing about Dobby is like the ending of this, which I like how the ending plays out in this, but it is another one of those things where he talks in the mirror, Dobby shows up, great. Again, are house elves the most powerful fucking wizards, or is it just Dobby?
Yeah,
Because he seems
how
to
are they
be
not-
the most powerful wizard in any of these movies. Whenever he shows up, he can do anything, and he is a total badass.
How do the elves not free themselves? They're clearly more powerful than like a basic wizard.
Yeah, he handles like Voldemort's like lieutenants.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be like fucking tough ass.
And he's doing it like a silly way. He's on the
Yeah.
chandeliers.
Exactly.
swashbuckling
That's what I'm
around.
saying. That's kind of like I don't know. It doesn't.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like it just runs a little soft for me at the end there.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you that he's too powerful. It's like what? Okay, that was easy.
And which is something we mentioned in the early movies, in the first couple of movies in this series. We mentioned that there was kind of this Deus Ex Machina of the endings of like Harry doesn't really save the day. Nobody really actively does that much. He just beats the guy because he's the chosen one, or
Yeah.
oh no, the guy is cursed where he can't touch him, or like whatever, or the wands are brothers, or
The world of the story always helps Harry Potter.
Exactly. And this is another one where, and I guess it is because it's like a halfway point. They had to find a climax at a halfway point where it's the dramatic thing is like it's Dobby's death after he does this heroic act. But again, it feels like we got right back to the early movies, Deus Ex Machina, which I'm not complaining about too much. It works for me.
Yeah.
But it is one of the things that I noticed of like Dobby comes and does everything to save the day. And also Dobby's a complete fucking badass. And nobody ever talks about like, is Dobby the most powerful wizard in the world? I don't know. Seems like it.
Right? No, I agree. It's no.
Yeah,
Take
Maybe
it. You gotta
Dobby's the
take it.
chosen one and
Yeah.
we just got it all wrong.
the prophecy was misread.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, it's not the kid with the lightning bolt in his head. It's a house elf that has a sock on his penis. This is strange.
He loves Red Hot Chili Peppers.
He's got a
Loves the
lightning bolt on his
peppers.
ass. Does that count?
All right, I'm ready for the summation.
Okay, why don't you go first?
All right,
You basically gave your
What's
summation.
the summation?
yeah, I've given
thrice.
so many summations. Yeah, not a lot to add except that I did really enjoy this movie. I didn't feel there were a lot of slow parts. I had like some, like I said, it's like a Chloe Zhao movie where they're traveling through these scenic landscapes, which they don't overdo it in this, like I think she sometimes does. But it definitely, I was getting some Eternals flashbacks where I was like, wow, this is beautiful, but who gives a fuck? It definitely dragged. It felt like there was some repetitive beats in the middle, but I thought the set pieces and the sequences, obviously the animation was the highlight. I loved the heist at the Ministry of Magic. I thought the early chase sequence when they're all escaping and moving Harry were great. And I thought the ending was good, even though it annoyed me for, reasons I just, talked about. I thought they all worked as action pieces. There are some stuff. This chase sequence through the woods was, kind of frantically edited, and there was the fight with a snake in the bathroom. What was with the little baby room in that house too? Sorry to.
Oh yeah. I wanted to bring that up.
Was there an explanation for that? That means something? How there was like a perfectly preserved nursery in this decrepit house?
An hour backwards.
Do you remember there were?
I know. I'm sorry, but seriously, I'm just asking for a friend.
It looked like
what
the room that
going on?
Harry Potter
grew up in,
like where Voldemort tried to kill him. That's what it reminded me of.
I think that it might have been it.
It
Yeah.
might have
don't
been.
know for sure what.
Yeah, I don't know. It might have been something.
Right.
Oh,
whatever.
the room where Harry Potter got the scar.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of reminded me
That-
of.
They're
I
also
think
in
that
this
might be
decrepit
it,
house
yeah.
where it was all like everything was, dark and whatever, and then they blast through this wall and the
all
baby's
lights.
room is all
lit
lit
up.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like perfect. Yeah, so maybe
That
that's
makes
it.
sense,
Maybe
'cause-
somebody had preserved the room.
And they made a big point about this is where we're
Parents.
going back to where your parents died.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you for that. Anyways, I thought that sequence was kind of choppy,
Yep.
and I wasn't sure what to make of it. But on the whole, really enjoyed this movie. Thought it was a lot of fun. One of my favorites in the series, I think, so far, and has me really keyed up to see if they nail the ending, because I think this has been an up and down series, but I've generally enjoyed all of these movies. They've been entertaining. I'm gonna give this one 8 Timothy Dolphins, which I think is probably my highest score of any of them. This seems to be my favorites. I think are around 8, and this is definitely there. And if they nail the last one, that's going to be right, in that range, because I feel like this is a great. I understand that I'm giving it grading on a curve because I understand that this is the penultimate film in the franchise and has a responsibility to set up the ending as well as just be a good movie in its own right.
Right. That's pretty good. I think I'll jump in. I pretty much agree with a lot of what you said. I really liked this movie. I don't know if it was just because of coming off the last one I really didn't like that much. But I think we've obviously highlighted a lot of the things we really like about this movie, the pacing and the whole tone of it, very adult, and they just kind of disposed of all the things that make it corny or make these movies corny. Yeah, I really liked the time that they took with things. They didn't get all the Horcruxes. They really stretched that out. So now there's still more Horcruxes to
Got
get.
3 left, right?
Yeah. We really see more of the villains, and we get their larger plan of what's happening here, and we're starting. This movie really tees up the battle that's to come. We're seeing the two warring sides, and the stakes are growing, and we're seeing it dip into the Muggle world, and I just feel like we don't see Hogwarts in this one. This one really took chances. The effects are good. We're looking at Harry's distorted face.
When Hermione cast the ugly spell on him or
ugly
something.
spell, yeah.
Which I think is also funny because they see right through it. They're like, no, he's got the Harry Potter scar.
But they don't.
Yeah,
that's
not
also
sure.
what's weird too. They're not
Hey,
sure. It's come on, that's Harry Potter.
He's hanging out with Harry Potter's best friends.
Right.
He's got Harry Potter's scar.
Got
he's
same hair,
He's
same
kind of
body
short for an
type.
adult man.
Yep.
Yeah.
They gave Hermione and Ron gave them false names though.
Yeah, these are really dumb snatchers. They're not educated snatchers. But then they get there and Bellatrix and shit doesn't know it's Hermione. It's again, and I don't want to stop Matt, but that's just back to this whole anti.
Yeah.
I just don't
They
think
had
there's
to create
parts
a
of this
climax
end
here.
here that just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, they tell Draco to
Right.
is this Harry? And he's like, I can't tell. And
They should have been
really?
are these Harry's 2 best friends who he never goes anywhere without?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. So they lose credibility for me. These villains, again, it's supposed to be oh fuck, and just
But
not.
to that end, I think Draco might be belaboring the point here. He's doesn't want to admit that it's Harry.
I think he
think
kinda
it's-
knows.
I
I
agree
know.
with
I
that.
think this scene is good for the Draco character. I think it's he knows that it's Harry Potter. He knows that that's Harry Potter's friends. He doesn't want to be the one
to make
you
it all
have to.
I agree.
He
down.
can't stand up to him, but he doesn't want to be the reason
Yeah.
that they. Yeah.
And like up until now, we haven't really seen that part of Draco.
Well, in the Half-Blood Prince, he's like all in until
Yeah.
they kill Dumbledore, and then he's like, "Shit, this is getting real."
Yeah, and now we see
that was sort of a turning point for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we see that really was a turning point for him, and that he's really.
What have I gotten
unsure
myself
about.
into?
Yeah.
Like, what have I done?
And my dad is kind of a pussy. What is this?
Yeah, the dad is
he's
even like
seeing,
that too. Yeah.
This is not like I don't want to necessarily be in this club. This
The
isn't as
dad
cool
is
as I
more.
thought.
Dad's more of a pussy. I think Drago's more of like conflicted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Dad's just a big.
Yeah.
fucking
He's like
pussy.
looking at his dad. He's like, "Why am I looking up to this guy?" He's,
Right.
you know,
Right.
Yeah,
cowering in
Draco's
fear
like
and-
I feel like Draco is like 100% like sold on like the philosophy until he had to witness someone being killed. And
Someone
then
who's
he
been
was
kind
like,
to him too.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh, like murder's murder. Like no matter if I believe like mudbloods are bad or not, you know."
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I feel like the message of this film is Draco, not that bad.
yeah.
I'm telling you, it's Draco's story, man.
Sorry, Matt, we
Yeah.
interrupted you.
Yeah, so I'll just finish up by saying that I'm looking at my past scores here, and I gave my highest score went to Goblet of Fire, which I gave a 9 to, and I have to say, I like this movie a lot, but I think what I like about Goblet of Fire is that for me that feels like a quintessential Harry Potter story. Like that is like they're at school, a bunch of fun shit happens, there's a lot of good characters and stakes and whatever, and like the ending is cool and all that. Like that is like when you think of a Harry Potter book or whatever, like it's something like that. Whereas this is like they kind of put a spin on what a Harry Potter story is, and they're doing something a little different. While I agree that it is like cool what they did and kudos to them, I don't think I like that as much as I liked, Goblet of Fire. So with that, I'm going to give this 8 Timothy Dolphins.
I just realized something that I missed the first time I watched this, where Bellatrix is like torturing Hermione, trying to get information from her, and she says that sword is supposed to be in her vault, and then she really wants to know what else they took. I missed that the last time.
Ooh,
I bet you there's a Horcrux in the vault.
Ooh, wow.
That's my prediction, that one of the other Horcruxes is in the vault.
Would you
Guess
believe
we'll
that
see.
there's an amusement park ride in the vault?
I don't know if that's a
Chris,
joke
you
or
want to
not.
give it a whack here?
Yeah, sure. I'll try not to repeat much of the stuff you guys said because I agree with a lot of it. I like the fact that this is very dark. I feel like they do a good job balancing. Like there's still a little bit of humor, but like from the get go, like they're telling you like this is like going to be some like I like the horror elements they play with, like the jump scares. Like you see that WB coming at you and it's creaking and screeching and it's like, okay, like this is adult and this is gonna be, you got the teacher hanging upside down like on her death. Like I like that stuff. It definitely feels like the stakes are much higher, which I like. I think the rewatch is better than the first time. I think this movie does get better as you start to appreciate it more, and that was kind of a surprise as I watched this again after not seeing it for a while. Overall, I want to talk a real quick story because just to talk about like the overall Harry Potter franchise. I think any individual movie I don't think like ranks up there in like fucking best movie ever. Like just to give you, but I think as a whole, like if you watch these from start to finish, I mean, I think it does an excellent job of continuity, of like growing with the characters. They stay loyal and true to the characters, and I think as a franchise, it's very, very well executed. And it's like it's obvious, especially nowadays, we see some of these fucking franchises like with no plans. The way you can really appreciate like the 10-year journey that this thing went on, and that to me catapults this into like Kit Kat territory where it's like this is some of the best cinema made because of that. We and our buddy, a couple of my buddies, we did this entire during the final Sweet 16. We did a 64 movie, like what's it called, like play like round robin shit, where everybody would vote. There's 13 of us, so 13 was a perfect odd number, and we put Harry Potter on there. But most of the movies were just like one movie. Even like Spider-Man, we did like Spider-Man 2. Like we didn't do like but and it was hilarious because it was so split. Like half the people fucking love it. Other people are like, this shit is children shit, but I'm on the camp where like the franchise itself I think was very well done, and this is kind of I think, a big part of it. I think the movie itself works really well. I don't think it's the best of the franchise. I would give it, what are we calling it again? I'm sorry. What type of scale?
Dolphins.
Timothy Dolphin.
Timothy Dolphin. I would give it 7 Timothy Dolphins with it.
Nice. It's a pretty solid score.
So I saw all the other ones when I was younger, and then I kind of didn't see this one. And I think the first time I saw it was this year. And I like it a lot. I think it's fun because the stuff that I do like is good, I'm pretty sure. And the stuff that I don't like is I enjoy not liking. That dance scene, like, it's bad, but, like, I'm having a blast, like, with, like, just knowing that it's bad. Like, and all the other, like, all the other silly, stupid things that sort of don't fit sometimes with the movie kind of doing well at telling the serious part of the story are also kind of fun to watch for me. So I agree with most of what all three of you guys said. I'm going to give this movie 8 Timothy Dolphins. I actually forgot what number Matt said, but I know
I think it's 3 8s and a 7.
3 8s and a 7, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're all pretty much in agreement. This is
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
solid.
has no
pretty good movie.
Yeah, Chris, I'm glad you said what you said about the franchise as a whole, because that is really like the aim of the exploration that we are taking here, and like we kind of, I gather with like the next movie, we'd sort of be looking at it more as a franchise, but so far up to this point, it's been really cohesive. And how many franchises are there out there where like there's usually one outlier where they go nuts with like one movie is like so bad amidst like 3 or 4 like pretty good ones or something,
right.
And there's really, I mean, there have been a few that we didn't like as much, but
Half-Blood
no
Prince
clear.
Is tough.
Yeah, Half-Blood Prince is
but
tough.
it's not like
it's not like a total stinker where
Right.
you're like, wow, what were they thinking here?
Yeah,
Right.
and the first one is very kiddie looking back on it, which is
but not terrible.
but
it's just different.
It's entertaining. It's just definitely targeted at children.
Yeah,
as well it should be, because so is the book, and
so are the kids,
and they were all kids.
Right,
it's a movie about a bunch of kids,
and we've talked about this too. That like as a franchise,
right.
like that is a challenge in itself. Is that they had to start out as kids movies and develop further into like adulthood,
right?
And like that's difficult to pull off, and with all the same actors and the we're watching these actors grow up on screen and stuff, and like we talked about the casting and how lucky they got that like these kids turned out to be pretty good actors, and like not just the 3, but like all the other like side actors that they got, like they're all good, and they didn't recast anybody, for the most part.
I agree, and it's just refreshing. It just shows you again. I go back to just what some of the movies and the big blockbuster stuff that's going on now. It just shows you that it can be done in the right hands with people who care, and like they care about the source material. They care about like what the fans think, and like they did a very good job, like from start to finish with this entire thing. I'm not gonna be here for the next one, so just my 2 cents on the whole thing is just it was very well executed, and obviously everybody from top to bottom like really wanted to make something that was true to the books and true to the fans, and they did it. And I think that's very commendable.
And I think in its legacy is like people look back on this and like you said, they're either fans of it or not. It's like there aren't those fans. Like how many things dropped the ball in the last movie and they're like, it sucks. They couldn't do it, or whatever. Game of Thrones, like that's something like that.
Yeah, and they're still like Colin said, they're still taking risks. They're still doing different things, and they're making good choices though, because they're staying, like you said, staying true to the
to the source.
What they're trying to what they've tried to tell from the beginning.
Right. Not trying to take a unique spin on asexual Harry Potter, but
I mean that's subtext.
That's there. Subtext.
It's there. It's not like it's not there.
Right. No.
I have these feelings sometimes. Just kidding. I never have them. Yeah, the Dobby doll looks great.
Yeah.
We classic us. Like we made it to the end somehow.
Oh my god. Let's get out of here before Voldemort grave robs
and kills us
the
all.
Fucking wand.
Should we go out singing the Nick Cave song? If anyone can remember it.
I can't remember.
Get on this train. This train is going off course or something like that.
We don't get to see Mundungus again, do we?
Does he show up in the second one?
I assume that Mundungus is a huge part of the next movie.
In the books, he's like the main character. All right, Chris. Chris, thanks for doing this. What have you got going on these days? Anything you want to like plug that you
plug? We're doing social media advertising these days. So if you got some stuff that needs creative for, then hit us up at medianug.com. It's very exciting working with Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. Everybody wants to make TikToks. We worked really hard on the Top Gun campaign, which was awesome. Got to see Top Gun like a month and a half early.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's been really awesome just watching that whole thing unfold, man. Like that. Fuck yeah. Like I went to see it for fucking fan of that movie.
Second time last night.
Yep.
Did I tell you guys that I tried to see it last week?
No, you tried?
Yeah, I went out on Monday. I was like, I'll go out and see a matinee.
Yeah.
So I go out and I because I'm near the Regal LA Live. That's the closest theater. So I was like, okay, screw it. I'll just go down there. So I head down there. The garage is closed. All the side streets are blocked off. Everything's blocked off because I guess there's like some foreign dignitaries staying in the W across the street. So everything's blocked off. So I'm like, shit, I can't do this. I was wondering why. Like I checked if it was like busy. It was like a midday show. Not a single seat sold. And that makes sense because nobody could get there. So I'm like, okay, screw it. I'll go to the Chinese theater. That's like a half hour away, and it's got a screening a half hour from now. So I drive towards the Chinese theater, get into Hollywood. All the streets are blocked off. Can't get anywhere near the Chinese theater.
Shut up.
I don't know what's going on. I assume that it's no. I don't think. Well, maybe the Hollywood one was because it's
That's
like
all
Monday.
in WeHo usually.
This is like Monday.
Yeah.
Well, they did Pride everywhere now. They did Pride. Yeah. They did a Pride every week. They did a downtown one. They did a Hollywood one. They did.
But I thought usually like the big blocking off the streets for multiple days was WeHo.
It's weekends, and this was during a weekday.
Right.
But I think it was like maybe similar Joe Biden bullshit. So I can't go there. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go to the Grove. And so I'm trying to get away from, and it's once again, it's like, that starts in a half hour. It's about a half hour away. Be perfect. So I immediately get stuck in traffic trying to get around all these road blockages. And I basically sit in traffic for a half an hour, realizing I'm not going to get anywhere near the Grove. And then I just drove back to my apartment almost 2 hours after I had left it, having not seen a single thing. and you're just like, well, man. I got a lot of day left, so I'm just going to do something else.
Yeah.
But I will go see it.
You've got to see that movie.
But I was definitely like, I'm karma does not want me to see this thing.
Maybe not that day.
Yeah.
But it does eventually because everyone's seen that movie. Have you seen it, Colin?
No, I haven't yet.
It's fantastic.
He's protesting it.
You're protesting
I'm
it.
not protesting.
No, there wasn't enough. He heard that there wasn't enough homoerotic volleyball.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm out. There's
homoerotic football.
One reason I watch Top Gun movies, and
it has no business being as good as it is. Yeah. And I know you've heard a lot about, but man, I don't know. I can't say enough good praises about that movie.
I saw it with Colleen last night, and she's like the harshest critic I know. She was on this show for Rocky, the first Rocky movie, and all of us were like crying and like loving the movie Rocky.
Oh, no.
And even she literally cried watching Rocky. And we all gave our ratings. I think we all gave it a 10, and Colleen gave it like a 7 or something. And we're like, what the fuck?
Even lower than that. It's
but she liked Top
low
Gun
score for a movie that she didn't even have any complaints with. She was like, I love the style. I love this.
This is like her
really
classic
emotional story.
This is just her MO. Like Top Gun, she's like, yeah, I loved it from top to bottom, but
wow.
I don't know. There's just something that didn't rub me the right way. I'm like, what didn't rub you the right way? It's a perfect movie, practically.
Yeah.
This is in my top 10 all time, except it's about a 6.
It literally brought me to tears.
It could have done nothing better, and that's why I gave it a 6.
Oh, Bill Nighy dies off screen on this movie too.
Yes,
so much shit
that's
happens
true.
off screen.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
All right,
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. So medianug.com.
Yeah.
Spelled the way it sounds.
Yep.
Is there any speaking of social media, can people follow you or the company?
You can follow me if you want. It's not. I don't really post much. Rocking like a hurricane. But it's not going to be a great follow. But media.nug on Instagram. You get to see kind of what we're up to. A little behind the scenes of some of our shoots and stuff like that. We're doing some pretty cool stuff in the social media world.
Is Nug short for Nugget?
It is. There's a lot behind that. I don't think we have enough time. We're wrapping it up.
But that's I already know. I feel like I know too much already.
Yeah. There's like an adult. There's like a friend version, and then there's like a business version. But we'll talk about it off screen or off mic. But no, it's good stuff, man. But again, thank you for having me, man. This was fun. This was my first podcast.
You did good, man. I think we'd love to have you back sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Just let me know. Just get it on the calendar.
Nice. Faux show. All right, cool. Thank you, Chris, and thank you guys. And oh, shit. We were going to talk about the next franchise. Can we do it quick, Colin?
Yeah, so it's either going to be Pirates of the Caribbean, the Vacation series, or the Predator series.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is create some way to randomize it, and it'll be random, and we're going to pick one of those.
We didn't do any homework on that.
And what did you have in mind, Colin?
Well...
Put some names in a hat and have Chris pick one?
Yeah. Yeah, that was my
Why don't
idea.
we just
But
do,
we
like-
don't have a hat.
We can flip a coin. It could be heads is one, tails is the other, and if it lands perfectly on its side, then it's
Predator.
Predator, yeah.
Perfect.
Perfectly on its side.
Do we have paper and pen? No, we don't.
Ooh, remember that? Do you remember in school you used to make the things with like you put each like you put 4 fingers in it and you did like
these things,
Yeah.
it predicts the future and like
not the
tells you,
thing
like,
where you put all your fingers together and your friend puts all their fingers together and then you stick your hands together.
Chinese
and
finger trap?
Peek in and see the vagina.
Oh yeah, no, that's good.
Vagina.
That's a good one.
That's good stuff.
That wouldn't help us choose anything, Colin.
Did you ever play MASH? It predicts like your whole future, like where you're gonna live, who
Yes,
you're gonna
I've
marry,
never
and stuff
played
like that. You make a big spiral on the back of the piece of paper.
I mean, girls had to make it, but I did participate in playing that game.
Are you saying that MASH is not for boys?
No, I'm saying
okay.
that boys didn't have the organizational skills to actually construct the
I
MASH.
made a MASH. I made my own MASH before.
All right.
I was taught by a woman. I was taught by a woman to mash.
So the Modelo cap with a peeled foil will be Predator. Everyone
Okay.
get that?
Wait, say that again?
The Modelo cap with the peeled foil is Predator.
Peeled foil Modelo cap is Predator.
And the whatever this thing, the big wave golden ale is Vacation. And
Because you see big waves typically when you're on
exactly.
vacation. Got it.
And
What about
the
Pirates?
solid gold one that looks kind of like a
Pirates
gold
has
coin
waves.
is Pirates.
A gold coin is like Pirates.
All right,
Okay.
there you go.
Also, this beer is not Modelo; it's Bohemia.
Oh, okay, fine.
But it's got a tear in it, like the Predator would tear you.
Exactly.
in the face.
So do we
Yes.
have a thing to throw these in that you can pick?
We have a
them
hat
out?
right here.
Oh,
we got a hat.
okay.
Okay.
All right. So should we have our guests do the picking?
Yeah,
So
let's have the
Wow.
guests do
Hear
it.
it.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Wow,
It's
big
all on
moment.
rattling around. This is all
Now-
random.
First time guest gets to choose our fate for the
Here
next
we go. He's
month
gonna reach
or
in and
two.
grab a bottle
Now,
cap.
for all 5 episodes, we can blame you for whatever happens.
Blue.
It is Vacation.
Big wave, vacation, baby.
Holiday
Road.
Holiday Road.
Oh my God, that's taking us out. Thanks everybody for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you like listening to us talk about your favorite film franchises. Thank you to our guest, Chris Heiman, and as always, thank you to Chris Morocco for banging out the You're a Wizard, Harry remix for this series. Subscribe to our Patreon for just $1 a month over at www.patreon.com/L2W. That's www.patreon.com/L2W. Help support the podcast by joining, and you get instant access to over 50 bonus shows that feature us covering non-franchise classics and so much more every single month. Again, that website to join is www.patreon.com/L2W. License to Watch is a part of the Fandom Limb Podcast Network, so please be sure to check out some of their other awesome shows, and be sure to tune in next time for the final Harry Potter episode, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.